Sam, I'm a bit stressed out.
Shock.
I'm a bit upset. You wanna ask me why, bro?
How come, bro?
Well, the reason is, bro, because there's probably some of our listeners out there. I mean, we get thousands of listeners per month, alhamdulillah. But there's probably some of them out there just thinking, I want to be able to listen to the podcast, but I want it a day early. And that upsets me, man.
That's what's stressing you out?
Yeah, because I wish there was something we could do about it.
What could you do?
No, I don't know, man. Perhaps you have a suggestion or a solution?
For your stress?
Yep.
How to get content out a day earlier?
How some of our listeners can receive content a day earlier?
Have you ever heard of Patreon?
Patreon? Tell me more.
Well, you originally introduced it to me, so why don't you tell me more?
Really? Patreon, yeah, you're right, Sam. Ouch. Guys, listen, if you're a subscriber, if you're listening to our podcast and you want to hear the podcast one day early, you want to get it earlier than everybody else, you just can't wait, then head over to patreon.com, that's patreon.com/freshly grounded, become a Patreon, and you get the episode early, you become a premium subscriber, you also get access to all of our merch earlier than everybody else. So for example, our mugs, when we released our freshly grounded mugs, our Patrons got it early, and so they were able to nab the first few, which, Sam, they've sold out.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. And so we're doing a reorder, and so they're coming back, but obviously these ones won't be signed, so just the freshly grinded mugs will be back. Also, we're launching a brand new piece of merchandise, and it should be out it's either going to be out like by the time this episode's out, or like literally in a few days time, inshallah. And it's the freshly grinded sweatshirts, grey sweatshirts with the freshly grinded logo. They're coming out in a couple of days, inshallah, and our patrons will get first dibs on those. They'll get them a day early as well. But there's a bunch of other stuff, you get access to freshly grinded content, behind the scenes content. Today we've a couple bits and bobs we've shot on our phones behind the scenes. We're going to upload that onto Patreon. You also get access to other content that we'll be creating. So head over to, and also you'll be, in the words of Sam Palmer, you'll be supporting the thing.
Done now.
Yeah. And therefore head over to patreon.com. It's £5 a month, around £5 a month. Head over to patreon.com/freshly grounded, and we've also created another tier now of Patreon, so you can actually you can become that subscriber, or you can go to the next tier, which means you get all of that plus you get the episode without the ads at the beginning. Nice. So all of this intro, you skip it. You don't even get it. Yeah, you get the episode raw from the intro, from brand new podcast, my best friends, Faisal and Sam. Yeah, so
that's good.
Yeah, if you go to the next tier, you get an ad-free episode. Also, you might say, hold on a second, you guys are getting thousands, tens of thousands of listeners every month. I want to capitalize off that. I want to sponsor the episode. I want my product on your table, just like we've got here. We've got some very unneatly, we've got some 59 cups. We've got some Menspire products. We've got some Izaha hats. You might want your product on here, and you might want us to shout your product out at the beginning. In which case, I would say head over to freshlygrounded.com/partner. All the information is there. Shoot us across the email. You can sponsor the episode. And this is episode 40.
40?
40. Done 40 episodes, bro.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. And just like each and every episode from the start, this episode is brought to you by 59. That's 50_NINE on Instagram. 59 Coffee Juice Bar. Coffee, juice, snacks, fresh juice, freshly ground coffee, fresh snacks, homemade. My favorite product, which is the homemade vanilla energy balls. Amazing food. Fresh salads, great breakfast. Head over to 59 Stanhope Road, and if you go there and you quote Freshly Grounded at the till, you get £1 off of your purchase. That's £1 off your purchase. Also brought to you by Izaha, IZAHA.com, Izaha.com. Arabic style caps, hats, t-shirts, jumpers. Put Freshly Grounded in the car and you get 20% off. We got some Menspire products on the table today, Sam.
We have, yeah.
What have you got on the table? What's that there?
There's Menspire matte paste, and there's Menspire Reminisce cologne.
I actually personally do use the Menspire paste. Is it the paste that I use?
I think you started off with rough stuff, and then someone might advise the paste to you. But I think you have the paste currently.
I think I have the paste.
Yeah.
I think I've always used the paste.
Always paste.
Yeah, I've never used rough stuff.
Oh.
Although they put rough stuff for me when I go to the shop,
Right.
But guys, I use Menspire paste and Menspire products for my hair, which I often cover up, so it's probably not the greatest of advertising. But it's amazing. And so where can you purchase these products, Sam?
Go on, if you're on Instagram, jump on the Menspire Salon Instagram, and the link in the bio is the shop. That is the best way to access the shop. Or just Google Menspire shop and you'll find it there.
Sick. Lastly, brought to you by Flavr, Flavr. Flavr.co is your one-stop shop for marketing, branding, social media content creation. Head over to flavr.co, that's flavr.co. And speaking of Flavr, Sam, this episode is brought to you with a special guest.
Yes.
The director, the owner,
Mr.
the
Flavr
founder
himself.
of Flavr, Omar Choudhry.
Yeah, it was great to have him on the show.
It was.
Really good to have him on the show.
A lot of insight. My big brother Omar was on the show. A lot of insight about motivation to do with business, to do with Flavr. We also had a special guest behind the scenes today. We had Shahid from Dubai.
Big up Shahid.
Yeah, man. If you guys are, dedicated listeners of Freshly Grounded, you watch the vlogs, you know who Shahid is. He was also in the studio with us. And lastly, guys, just an announcement to say that we will be going dark next week. There's no episode out next week. Best know it's not because we'll be doing anything to do with Christmas. It's just because your boy will be in Pakistan. So no episode next week. However, we'll be back in the new year in 2018, and that episode, I'm sure, will be full of me telling you about my time in Pakistan.
I'm looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Really embrace it. Really relax and embrace it. I think it'd be fantastic.
I think I need to relax is the main thing.
Yeah. You're going, so you just enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I know what you're saying when you're not, but you'll enjoy it. Inshallah. Definitely.
Guys, this is Freshly Grounded, episode 40. We need to do something big for episode 50, Sam.
Let's think about that when we get to it, mate. Inshallah,
Dublin, maybe?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, episode 50 Dublin?
50, yeah, that's a good idea.
It's about 10 weeks away.
Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah. All right, guys, this is episode 40. Let's get into it.
And welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
No, after that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Really?
Oh, it's already got. Oh, yeah. So we're actually on air, but I forgot to mention. Guys, listen. We are joined by the one and only. I know we've got Omar here on our left, and we will speak about Omar in a second. But we got someone behind the camera. Is it the one and only Mo Ali from cricket? Oh wait, no. Hold on a second, guys. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are with Brother Shahid, who looked after us in Dubai. He's down in London right now, and yes, he looks a bit like Mo Ali, but it's not him.
Now that you mention it.
Does it?
Yeah.
I've seen
Hello,
pictures
Malik.
recently and I thought it was me on TV.
Really?
I was
Wow.
like, I'm taking wickets here.
I'm doing good. How are you, Shahid, man?
Alhamdulillah, everything's good. It's nice to be back, but also missing Dubai already.
It's your first time seeing all this, right?
First time I've been to the Flavr studio, to the Freshly Grounded studio. It's a nice setup, very nice setup, mashallah.
Oh, thank you, man. And good to have you here.
And especially the fact that you guys can see each other like just across the corridor, across the little.
Omar
Yeah.
thought it was important
Was that
to keep an
intentional
eye
or
on.
was that just happened like that?
I don't know. I to be honest, it was just kind of coincidental because we were looking for to get a studio anyway. As soon as this became available, I just spoke to him and said I want it. So that was it really. And if it was like one of the back rooms, I probably would have taken that as well. It's just so hard to get these rooms. But no, what the thing is, they're heavily discounted because nobody actually wants to be next to this atrium area
Oh, I see.
because people like privacy.
Yeah.
So they discount this. So I was like, oh.
So what we're trying to do is get all of the ones that surround it, so that way technically it's our own
Yeah,
garden.
I thought that'd be a nice mission to have, but I don't know. I think after this one, I probably want like just a bigger space in itself because then it doesn't become cost effective.
You outgrowing this place?
I think we will in the next maybe 6 months, inshallah. But the thing is, it's the rates as well. You got to pay business rates on every room.
Oh, I see.
With one place, you can get away with small business rate relief. But as soon as you expand, you're expanding, so you have to pay more rates, so it doesn't become effective.
But there we have it. We have Brother Shahid in the building for this episode, and so you'll probably be hearing from him throughout the episode. We got him on a little mic, which for the non-street like me listeners means
You've got
little.
him on a little mic, did you say?
Yeah,
And that was street, was it? On
There's
a
a-
little mic.
there's a little mic there.
Okay, yeah, little thing there, yeah.
You know, it's actually nice to be on a
You just do
your
do so much
podcast
better than
because
me. Sorry, go ahead.
because kind of the OGs, mashallah, but also
And OG stands for original. I don't know. Original.
Let the brother speak, man. Sorry.
Grown man.
I was just gonna say it's just nice to be on your podcast, man. Like, to be honest, even the fact that I'm never in a room when you guys are shooting a podcast because I've always got stuff going on, but as the appeal has grown for it, and it's got, it was at a wedding, literally at a wedding the other day, and someone came and said salam to me and said, I'll watch Freshly Grounded, listen every week and see Sam and Faisal give them my salams. So just the fact that you guys are like growing is such a platform, it's just beautiful.
Is that
man.
why
So proud of
we
you.
built it now? Now you're gonna come on it.
Yeah, I just want to give it some time.
Yeah, we had to make it credible.
I was on Faisal's first podcast, first guest. So
Yeah, well, while you're here, as you're
It
here
is
on
my
Freshly
fault,
Grounded, I should tell you about, like, because you aren't ever in the room during Freshly Grounded, I should tell you about the format of the episode. Generally, what it is it's me and Sam being stupid, cracking joke, mainly me being stupid and Sam telling me I'm being stupid. And then if we have a guest like yourself, I think what it is 3 people being stupid, and then we get loads of comments saying, stop interrupting the guests. You guys are doing the guests right. I think some people have got the idea of the podcast wrong because, like, we never wanted to make this like an interview style thing.
100%.
I think sometimes when we have a guest, people assume that it's an interview, and therefore, like, when we're just butting each other in, shouting and like interrupting, everyone's like, wow, these hosts are so rude. But I think, like, generally, literally the idea of the podcast is 3 guys having a chat, and we're trying to make it like a regular setting. Obviously we're on chairs and we got microphones in front of us, so it's a bit different than us like chilling on a sofa without mics, but that's the effect we're trying to have. And therefore that it's not interview style, really, isn't it?
It's not an interview as such. No, it's the guest just adds to the conversation as such. Yeah,
I think, like, if you what makes it so important, even the way you guys do it, is the fact that obviously people listen to it as their day's going on, and it's just in passing. But the conversations you have, they're all very, very relevant. Like, yes, you're cracking jokes, which are beautiful because they light up people's moods and give them so much. Like, I just think your podcast and what you're doing gives people hope in general. But the topics I think are very important to speak about in a light-hearted way and in conversation rather than strict questions. I think you get a lot more from it.
So Omar, you recently started your own podcast.
Yes.
How's that going?
Alhamdulillah, good, man. I underestimated my own abilities in terms of... No, overestimated, sorry, my own abilities in how often I'd be able to get it done. I really wanted to do like a weekly, but literally, I'm trying to edit it myself as well, just because I wanted it a certain way. And Red and Nate and Dowd have done a great job in producing it. But it's just getting it all out at the right time with so much going on. Sometimes it's a bit, I guess, tricky. Filming it is fine. It's just finding that 3-4 hours.
How many have you done now? 3.
I filmed 3. I put out 2.
Yeah.
So I've got 1 that just needs to be edited.
Yeah.
I've got another one planned for the first week of Jan, inshallah, as well. So.
And the intention next year, you're going to carry on doing it, building
it? No, I really want to get on to. I really want it to be consistent. I think it's just like teething stages. When you're just starting it and you're trying to get it right.
What would you like to do weekly? Ideal world.
Inshallah. I want to focus on. I like the fact, like, a lot of the people I really like with you guys, the guests you have are people that you've spoken to generally and have a good idea of their personality. And the people I want to get on there are, people who have done various things in different industries. So, people that I might have launched, their own, let's say, fashion labels, or like friends of mine that are running like successful, chains or companies, so just a range of
very
things.
General,
but I love the idea.
Chainsaw companies.
Chainsaw companies.
How?
But I love the idea of backtracking against people's, like, how they've got somewhere and then breaking down the process.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah.
So that's what's kind of the.
So what would, if you could put your podcast in a genre, what kind of, would it be a business contrast, a business podcast, or a lifestyle one, or would you put any kind of name to it, or was it just very general?
I think both, to be. I think business in the sense because it touches on like the building stages of anything. Yeah. But it's more just that. I think it's more like how to / business. Rather than lifestyle, because the reason I don't want to focus too much on lifestyle is because even with what we do, for instance, what we do in terms of our, business activities and stuff, the way everyone runs their life itself is independent to them, So the way my lifestyle is different to Faisal's. But I love his lifestyle, and he love things about my lifestyle, but we operate independent to us. So I don't want to go too deep into saying to people, this is how you should live your life.
Yeah.
It's more like these are pointers that other people have done, and if you can extract from that, then works best. Yeah.
I can't help but notice that you have the world's biggest scratch on your nose.
Bro,
it looks like someone's tried to.
Is it that bad? Is that bad?
I'm not
bad?
exaggerating.
It was my daughter, man.
I know.
Bro, she
How
attacked
come
me, man.
your child doesn't attack you? I've never seen you with a scar on your face.
They've healed.
He cuts
Oh,
her
okay.
nails. No, we you know what it is?
What
She doesn't like her nails cut while she's awake.
Okay.
And every time she's sleeping, sorry man, I'm just dribbling all over this. Every time she's sleeping,
So only 40 other people have used that mic. Joking.
just got all oozing out. Conversations just coming out. Every time she's sleeping, you can't. It's the only time you really get to actually get things done. So when she's sleeping for that 2 hours, my wife is trying to clean up or get something done, and the last thing you're thinking about is cutting her nails. So when she wakes up again, you're like, ah. But yeah, she attacked me.
It's crazy. When they're asleep is when you get your own little bit of me time, isn't it? Like normality.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Are you, yours consistent now, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's very much like I'm talking about my wife's day in day out. I'm generally not in the house day in day out, but it's very much like his routine. Alhamdulillah, he has a good night's sleep, but he'll have a morning nap at about 11 o'clock.
Right.
So he'll go down for a few hours, which gives my missus the time just to have her own time and sort the house out and pretty much just have her own time when she can just not have to think about what he's doing, sort of thing.
Is he at that age where, because I know, at this stage, it seems as if the sleep is the biggest, annoying thing.
Yeah.
And it's getting better, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Now she's getting into a better routine. But the challenges become greater than that as it goes?
Now, from my experience, alhamdulillah, Allah's made it easy for me because at first, like most babies, it's difficult at night to get a good night's sleep out of them and stuff, and it disrupts us both. And you're tired. You go to work and you're tired.
Yeah.
The cliche, the new parents thing. But then over the course of time, he can bang 12 hours. He can do 13 hours.
That's mad.
Yeah, and he will just go down and
13 hours sleep.
and he's fine with that. And so that's now we can deal with that.
Wow.
So it's kind of like it's got back to normal. So it's definitely got better over time. But then I've heard stories when it's kind of every child's different, obviously, isn't it?
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah, as soon as they start having a bit more routine with a sleep, makes life easier.
Don't you think, this is so interesting to speak to another father as well. Don't you think, this is only my daughter's only 4 months old, so I have a really fresh, kind of outlook on these things. Do you have children, brother? Okay, so, you, mashallah, and your wife have a very, peaceful aura about you. Everything's laid back,
Well, even me as well, yeah?
Yeah, you are.
Okay,
You are.
alhamdulillah,
Yeah, you are. You got quite chill. You're chilled out, brother. He is, man. He is. He's not intense. Like me and you are just all the time.
Yeah.
But
Go on, what have you got to say?
that's with Elvis Mike.
Okay, cool. I didn't realise that's how you came across. Maybe I know you too well.
You come across quite chilled out when I met you as well.
Really?
Yeah.
If I end this podcast, I'll be like Sam's wild.
I've travelled with Sam when he's trying to sleep.
Is it? It's bad.
No, not bad. Alhamdulillah.
But do you think that makes an impact at home? That aura?
Oh,
Yes,
just
for sure. That calming feeling.
Yeah.
100%. And I would say more so my missus as well, man. Credit to my missus for being very, very calming and with him as well. But it's definitely I don't know whether how much of what he's like now has stemmed from her or whether it just naturally that's just
Because bro, I tell you why, bro. Because I've seen kids that are grown up in households where there's grandparents, uncles, aunties, mixed household, and they're erratic, got ADHD,
it's a bit
and
crazy.
then they've had a sibling, and the sibling is just as bad.
Yeah.
So it can't. I think it is environment, man.
It must be environment. I
Yeah.
don't think it's environment because he's such a good boy. He tidies up all his toys at the end of the night and all this kind of stuff. It's said to you the other week, but he will literally say, my missus will say, Zayden, time to clear up, time to go to bed, and he'll go around the house, pick up
Mashallah,
all
it's
his
beautiful.
cars and trains and stuff and I didn't do that.
Does he cut
I
your
don't
hair?
do that now, huh?
To cut your hair.
Does it cut
You're gonna cut your hair?
No, soon.
He's also you also managed to have a child who is potentially Cristiano Ronaldo Jr. Am I right, Sam?
He likes football, yeah.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah, he's suddenly
So he's got
What
a bit of a
is
kick on
that?
him.
2.5, 3.
he is not even 2 yet.
Oh,
Your boy can do a free kick.
It's crazy
Wow.
because I brought him a football which he loves, but also the little he's got little balls the control and power that he can kick it but create air in it. He can kick a ball basically.
Wow.
It's crazy. And I was chatting to a friend of mine the other day who's got a little boy. He's a bit older, but this guy's very into football, proper like lad, like British lad, and
Bellamy.
You Watford star coming up.
British lad. But never his son's like never gone near the football, and he's like someone
Really?
tried to encourage him that, but he's not going anywhere near it. And I think I wouldn't mind if my boy wasn't into football. I wouldn't particularly mind, but seems like he's like it's going to be this thing that
It seems like he's going to be the next Ronaldo.
who knows.
So, have you considered Real Madrid's contract or
Sorry?
Real Madrid? You should sign him up for the football team. Remember when we went to buy the Real Madrid cafe? Do you remember that?
No.
Have you seen that? Is it Real
we went
Madrid
in.
Cafe?
We
Is
didn't
it
go
a real
into
one?
it.
Is it like
ate,
official?
We ate at the restaurant next to it.
Oh yeah. In JBR.
Yeah.
JBR. Yeah.
So, Omar, how much has being a dad changed your life?
This guy's segues are incredible.
Speaking of JBR,
Yes,
Omar,
speaking
you're
of
a new dad.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, man. In the most amazing way, it's completely changed my life, man. Literally. I think it's. Man, I don't even. You know what? I don't think I've had time to really reflect on the idea of fatherhood because it's all happening like live, like with me. The most I've had the time to do that is when my wife and I went away a couple of weeks ago, and we had like 4 or 5 days away. And that was the only time we really got to just step back. But even then, we were just sleeping a lot. So, but I think in terms of perspective and decision making, it's helped massively. Like I'm very conscious of the time I spend in certain areas, and I think I don't know if there's a negative or positive yet, but I've started to become quite shrewd in like certain environments where I know that things need to just get done, or I need to get from A to B. I'm not like, I don't like the whole like whiffy waffy bit in the middle, but in my conversation I'm like that a lot now. Like I was just speaking to Red, like prime example a minute ago.
Yeah.
Could have said, how far are you? He's like, I'm getting a bus and I'm trying to bro in minutes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to know 15 minutes. Alright, cool. It's so crazy. I know that takes him out, but my brain is just like that, and it can come across like really intense, but
Sam's exactly the same.
life's just like that.
100%.
Is it really?
And they say that phone call, I actually heard you make that phone call, and mine would be exactly the same things. Like, I don't care how long you're gonna be. Like,
Yeah.
cut to the chase. Yeah, I hear you.
But I think but I do think that's been since she's been born. Like because even when I go home, that's the one thing. Like when I'm in the house, I'm not like that because I know you can't judge things like that because everything is just like okay as your family wants it and in their own time. And I enjoy that, man. Like even this morning, I was awake with my wife because my daughter's at her grandparents for a few days. So my wife and I managed to get some good sleep yesterday. We literally went to sleep at like 9:20 p.m.
Sleep.
Yeah. I woke up at 6:30. It was beautiful.
Alhamdulillah, nice.
Alhamdulillah, and we both wake up, had breakfast together. We haven't done that in a while. And we'll just speak, and even just having that where like I wasn't rushing into anything, it's all alright, cool. Like we were just speaking about her dreams at night. So but it was nice to have that morning. And I think now that you have a child, you really value that family time.
100%.
Yeah.
And do you find that you value time with your wife now when the little one's not around? Like it's you value it even more.
Yes.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
Definitely, bro.
Yeah, because I got the opportunity to go out for dinner the other night. My mum looked after my boy
Yeah.
from early in the afternoon right up until he put him to bed and everything. So we've not had that time together. Just like we were just in London, just walking around doing bits and pieces. Just I don't know, Shoreditch or just walking around. It was just crazy, like the fact that we've got a child. We'd never really get to have that much time by ourselves, especially in being in London, walking around like freely, not caring the world sort of thing.
It's beautiful. It's kind of interesting because you kind of get that like dating feeling. You know what I mean?
It was
but it's like that because you value that like little time that you get.
100%.
Yeah,
So this is
it's
adult
really cool,
talk. Sorry,
man.
we got to do adult talk for a little bit.
Just here, a married man without children.
Oh, mashallah, man. You have a beautiful life as well, man.
Alhamdulillah.
It's alright.
It's not too bad, is it? Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So,
She doesn't beat you every day. Says the man with a scratch on his nose.
Omar and I are going to the old Pakistan, Sam.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
You
yeah,
excited?
A couple of days. You could say I'm excited.
Mentally prepared?
If you could say I'm excited.
Your Karmis ready?
You could say I'm excited. But if you said I was excited, I don't know how truthful it would be. But you could say it.
Oh, so you're not excited?
Nah, I'm excited. I'm joking. I'm excited.
You're apprehensive, aren't you?
I'm not. I don't know. I don't know.
Returning to the motherland. I thought you'd be gassed.
Of course I'm gassed, man. I'm proper excited. I have been accustomed to living here all my life.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect because I haven't been to Pakistan in yonks. Like I literally don't remember my last trip to Pakistan. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old.
I do.
All I remember is getting off the plane and there being a lot of like
Get back
moths.
on it. Been a lot of moths. We used to get like headlights. And
I don't hate Pakistan. I don't want to like come
You
across
definitely nah. That'd be crazy. You can't say
Bro,
that.
we go to the capital, bro. We're going to like the
Yeah, I love
motherland.
it.
We're going to Islamabad. It'll be beautiful.
I suppose
So
more
we're going to Islamabad, yeah?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you'll be with me. And then we've got to go to my dad's village as well.
Oh, bro, I would embrace that. I would love.
yeah, I'm
I
looking forward
personally
to
would
it.
love to do that, man.
Look, bro, we can speak the language. You know what I mean? So that helps.
and we're
you speak
Pakistani.
language? You always say you
Let's not
must
forget that we are Pakistani as well.
Yeah, Faz can get by.
Can he?
Bro,
He plays it down like he
my
doesn't.
language is I
Why
think
would I ask you to just speak
what?
Punjabi? Don't do it.
Oh, my Punjabi is better than yours, definitely.
Nah,
Definitely.
Nah, you got that. He's got that. Like village Punjabi.
I speak like a villager.
like that street
Yeah,
boy.
village thing.
Because
yeah.
I sometimes chill with my dad and his boys, and that's how they speak. So I try and
Yeah,
get
they're
in on the
super
action.
like
Village slang, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
That village
that's
slang,
slang.
yeah? Okay.
Bro, trust me, I play it down with Pakistaniness, but I'm a proper, you
So
know.
Islamabad, yeah? Capital.
We're going to Islamabad, capital, and we're visiting a mosque called Faisal Mosque.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you do in the car?
Yes,
Is
I
it?
believe so,
Oh,
yeah.
beautiful.
And that's actually where I think the one picture that exists of me in Pakistan when I was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
3
yeah.
is the picture of me standing in that mosque.
With dad holding
Inside
And
it.
so I'm gonna try and find that exact picture and
Get
try and
rid-
get a
yeah,
picture
yeah.
in the exact same spot. But I think I was topless in that picture because I was like 3.
Really?
And I don't know how appropriate it would be for
Shouldn't
me
do
to
that.
now stand topless there.
Shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'll probably wear a t-shirt. It's also really cold.
Lose some followers.
It's cold. Yeah. The nude t-shirts.
Nude
Yeah.
ones, yeah. So it looks like it's a colour in it.
I have a nude hoodie and I never wear it because I just feel like it would, from far away, look like I'm not wearing anything.
So how long are you there for? A week?
Less than that, man. Not
Really?
that long, yeah.
Quick trip.
Quick trip. Go there, do the thing.
How many things
Come
have you got to do over there?
About 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's it, man. To be honest,
Oh, are you looking forward to it?
yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I haven't been there such a long time. But you know what it is? This we're going there obviously my cousin's wedding, so it'll be beautiful. But also the reason we're not going for like the whole duration of the actual like wedding trip is I think like a week and a half or 2 weeks. But so most of our family is flying out like this week. They're going to a different city, then they're going to Islamabad, then they're going back to another city, and then they come back.
And that's all for the same wedding, yeah?
Yeah, but we're just going for the main events like the nikah and the wedding because that period of time is very valuable, man. Like
Yeah.
these 2 weeks you get during Christmas break, bro, like you know this as well. It's a time when no one hits you up, you know, and it's a perfect reason for you to just like get your brain in a nice space. And I value that time, man. So I thought, you know what, we're going there, spend 4 or 5 days there, and come back, and then I'll also get to spend some time with my family, which would be nice,
Yeah.
without any distractions. And then I'll also get some time to phase back into what we're doing here calmly as well. I don't want to just like jump out straight there and then come back straight into the madness
Yeah,
again,
of course,
you know,
of
because
course.
then it's going to be crazy.
You got big plans for January? For
Bro,
next
a lot
year?
going on, man. Yeah, alhamdulillah, man.
Yeah.
A lot happening. We're just going to run up to now to launch a new product, which is very, very exciting. So
Is that top secret?
the name is, I
Yeah,
guess, but I
yeah.
haven't spoken about it, so we
Yeah.
could speak about it first
Yeah,
time
yeah.
here. I don't mind talking about the
Yeah,
idea
let's
behind
discuss it, man, because nobody knows.
Yeah,
about
I haven't really touched on it because, first of all, because I think it's pretty almost a unique angle on what we're trying to do, and you just don't want to put something out there until you really got a grasp of it. But like we're literally at the tail end now, so alhamdulillah, it's all come together really well. And also, I don't want to touch on the name too much because then like you could just find out everything about it, and I'd rather not. But
I think
yeah.
it's important to also know that because like the way we're approaching this episode as well is as if like, you know, we're all just having a conversation and it's clear that we all like know each other and we've spoken
Yeah.
in the past and that. And so although we'll touch on some of the stuff like within this episode as well, there's a lot of stuff that we've discussed, like your whole story,
Yep.
for example, in detail in other videos, like for
Yeah.
example the first episode of the next phase, which is still on YouTube, which is just a chat between me and you in my bedroom. And we went through kind of like the ins and outs, and there's this thing that I do in my talk at like unis and stuff, when I talk about how like at one stage in our lives when you bought your first ever car at 21 you bought your like first ever car, which was a Porsche straight out of the showroom, and you, even though you had a brand new Porsche, you didn't even have enough money to put petrol in a Porsche. And I always get laughs at that point, and that's always like the point that I'm not trying to, that's not the bit, that's
Yeah,
never
it
my
sounds so
punchline.
crazy, yeah.
And that always gets the most laughs. I'm like, my jokes must be really bad because you guys are laughing at the serious bit. And so all of that information that is the kind of background story of all of that is on that video.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, it's so hard to in your day to day, like mashallah, like so many people, alhamdulillah, sorry, loads of people like follow what we do, and are like inspired by what's kind of going on. But we can obviously show our day to day and show what's going on, but it's very hard to sometimes really shine a light on where that comes from. So when people will like get in touch with you and like, hey, how can we motivate ourselves? How can we do this? It's such a deeply ingrained thing that the things you go through in your life. Like I was speaking to Shaz literally last night, yeah, and we're speaking about mum or something, and I forgot the fact that we even were in an orphanage or hostels for a while. Remember, we were in hostels and stuff. I forgot that we even had that part of our life. Like it's so, and we're still in our like early 20s. So when you think about that, like when I was backtracking, I'm like, whoa, like I remember seeing things in our family that would put us in such a like a difficult space. That somewhere in there, I know the passion for wanting to change this life must have come from. So it's so deeply ingrained in your circumstances that I can't look at my day to day and just be like, yeah, I'm doing this because of this, because I do think it's wired from like multiple things that have happened growing up.
Yeah.
So
is that the answer? If someone were to ask you, Omar, where do you get your motivation and your inspiration from? It's almost like, well, it's not from something I thought about this morning. It's something that is in the foundations of myself that I've developed through this experience.
Exactly that, bro. Like my mindset is this: if I go through anything that I don't like, I don't want to go through it again, and I'll do anything I can to make sure it doesn't happen again. So, and that's how I look at even things that happen between us as a team as well. So if there's something I've experienced, because I've physically experienced it, now I can do two things. They say hurt people, right? So you can become a victim of that. So my mum and dad aren't together, but as growing up, I saw where their marriage broke down because I was old enough to understand it. But now, they're better the way their lives are. But because I've seen that, I know what caused that. And I'm now at the age that perhaps my mum and dad were at the time when I saw that stuff happening. So I'm still their child, but I have to understand that I'm of that age now and I have a child, I have a wife, and same way as my dad, I have run my own business. So where were the pitfalls in his life? And in speaking to my mum, she was at my house literally like 3 or 4 days ago, helping me look after my daughter, and we were just speaking then, and she was telling me about all these little things, and I was like, wow, like it's so insightful, because she also can give the advice from my mother's perspective that, okay, now with your wife, just be wary of these things, because I've been a wife of someone who's running a business and be very into it, and this is how it made me feel. And because I've seen those, I'm motivated to not let that repeat. I would not ever want my child to experience some of the emotions that perhaps unfortunately my sisters may have experienced. And mashallah, my father's an incredible dad, but they're just been things along the way that I've seen, and I'm like, I don't want to happen. And even I think like financially, for instance, why I'm so motivated in terms of the business aspect of things as well is, it's a small example. Like when my mum and dad split up, my mum, obviously my dad was like the breadwinner of the house. So our mum wouldn't really work. And because of that, she was never in a financial position to, it's 4 kids, and we're very, very young. So she didn't work, we obviously didn't work. And she wasn't in a position to feed us every week because it would cost a lot. And my dad was just trying to set up a new business, so he wasn't in the best financial position. So she would literally, I remember every Saturday, it would be a ritual where one of us kids had to call my dad and ask him for like, shopping money for the week. So like it would either be, and we'd always try and hide from it because we hated it. We'd be like, and if you see dad, we saw him once a week because that was just the way it was all set up. And when we saw him, we'd have such a nice time. But right at the end when we're saying bye, let's be like, hey dad, mum needs some shopping money. And it was just like, it always gave that little like sourness to the entire day and to the weekend. And we used to push so then we started taking turns, and then my sister got old enough to the point where, okay, it's not cool because she's like older sister. And then my younger sister was too young, so it was always between Faisal and I. And I always remember, and I would remember saying to my mum, I can't wait until we just don't have to like do that, like, why can't we just be in a position where, and bro, it sounds crazy, but sometimes that might have just been £50 or £100 a week, and that's not a lot. But that used to be like a struggle to ask for, and for my dad to provide. So I think that's cemented in there as well. So now when it comes to a stage where I remember those things, man, and I remember myself saying I don't want to be in position. So I really like cherish the fact that I can go food shopping even for my family. You know what I mean? And then make sure even when if mum ever needs something, we can help her there as well. So I do think it stems from there, bro. Yeah.
So what's your intentions moving forward? You're building you're building businesses, and you've just had a child. Now, I know as well as you do that the amount of time you put into a business is what you get back out. So obviously you do have to you put a lot of your time into building a business, etc. How are you going to look at that balance of your family and your business? Is it something that you've almost got like a plan of how you're going to deal with it, or is it something you're just going to deal with as it comes?
I think the first thing is realizing that this is not a one-man mission. You're married, you know what I mean? So you have someone else who deserves as much communication as you would talk to yourself, you know? So I'm lucky in a sense that my wife is very understanding. She also runs her own business. So the foundation of the understanding is kind of built just from that, which is good. But what I do is a lot more intense in terms of my day-to-day activity. You know, like she's lucky in a sense that she can be very mobile with what she's doing. So time-wise, yes, I have to be very cautious of that. And it's taken some adjustment, man. Like literally, it was only like I said, my daughter was only 4 months old, but in the first month when she was born, I had a lot going on here. Because I'd taken 2 months out, it was hard for me to transition back. So she actually had to go to her mum's for a month. Because she needed help with the baby and I couldn't be there the whole time. So I'd spend a month without her and my child and only see them at the weekends, which was hard but necessary. And
so you could focus back on the business.
Correct. Yeah. But having a wife that understood that, you know, because she could see what I was going through and the stresses because at the end of the day, business is business. Clients are going to want what they want. And I have to be able to deliver that. So it doesn't matter, you know, it's clients will understand when you're like, you know, I got to take a couple months off my baby. That's fine. But then you had Ramzan before that, so now it seems like 4 months. You know, which affects people's businesses. So I explained that to her, and I know again, like when I think about it, communication is important because if I said, you know, I need to work, boom, 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 and just carried on with it, that's not the way of dealing with it. But taking time out and really explaining to her, look, this situation, she was the one who actually offered it and said herself, look, I'll go to my mum's. Yeah, you do what you need to do. Don't worry, wake up, sleep whenever you want, work however long you want, I'll be here. Yeah. And that made me value our relationship so much more. And also the time I now spend with family, I understand the importance of it. So I don't, you know, take things too far. So, no, for example, a prime example right now is I'm launching this new product, which is basically an expansion of what we're doing in Flavr, but at the same time still running Flavr, which means I've got two things happening side by side. And also she's now, because of her pregnancy, her entire business plan got pushed a year back. So she's now getting back on track with that. So that's very intense. So we've both got a lot happening at once and we've just had a child. So now, for instance, I do have to communicate even more to her. And, you know, like if there's stuff going on, she'll understand if I need to take, you know, stay a bit late on 1 day or 2 days here and there. But it's never a thing where I'm like every day, you know, working late or when I go home. But before, when I used to go home, I used to just like whack on my laptop, carry on or whatever. I didn't even think about it. But now it's like, no, straight switch off.
You're quite similar, aren't you, Sam, in the sense that I've noticed that you value your family time a lot, and you've had to become very, Omar was saying earlier that he's a bit, since having a daughter, he's become very stern with things. And I've noticed that with you, and it's an admirable trait that I really admire in that. And I think I've adopted it as well, actually, and a lot of it because I've noticed it in you over the past year. You know, when it's family time, and you're not afraid to tell someone, just like no matter how important it is. Right now, I'm not doing it or anything because I'm at home or something like that. How important is that to you?
I think it's very important, man. And I choose to do that on a Sunday, so it's not like I have a few days during the week when I say no one talk to me. It's family time. I have it on a Sunday, which I think traditionally is a day when you can kind of lock off anyway.
Right.
But I know the amount of time that my missus puts into my son all through the week when I'm out working, that like it'd be so unfair that I didn't give them both, or even just her or him, that bit of time. Because being a full-time mum, like I think mums get forgotten about a little bit in society, but the amount of effort and energy and love that they put into giving their children like is crazy. It's something that we can't even imagine. They're there, you know, 24 hours of the day. They're there looking after the children, and so much energy goes into that. And I sometimes forget that when I'm out doing whatever I'm doing. I kind of forget the fact that my missus is actually there looking after my child, making sure my child is
100%.
everything. So it's crazy. So if I can just sacrifice at least one day out of a 7-day week for my family, I think that's not a lot.
And you also owe it to them to, in that time, be at your best for them. You know what I mean? You can't be, don't matter what's happening in your day, bro, you got to soldier that in the evening
still,
and be there.
That's still something that I think I'm finding a little bit easier to control now, purely because he is a lot more aware.
Right.
So if he sees me stressed, he'll pick up on it and he'll be aware of it, and he probably won't want to necessarily be around me too much. So it's very much like, yeah, we have stresses and we have all these dunya worries that do get to us. They get to me certainly.
Yeah.
But it's not fair to walk into the house and like and carry that and almost like show your family that side, because that needs to be left at the door. And I'm being slightly hypocritical. It's something I'm trying to work on. But it's almost like stage door needs to be on your front door as you walk in, and when you walk in, you need to be just forget all the nonsense.
Completely.
Just remember, they've not seen you all day. They need you. They need your love, your energy, your smile, your positivity. So walking in, and this is me being a hypocrite, walking in being all moody, complaining this and that, but there's no benefit bringing that into the house. So,
do you have anything like small things for yourself independently that you try to do to keep yourself in a, because coming from, again, the angle of like running things yourself, you know, you are ultimately the where everything starts and ends. You know, because you don't have anyone else necessarily. You have a business partner perhaps, but in terms of your own life. So do you have anything that kind of just brings you back into your center, aside from probably the obvious like Salah and Islam and stuff?
Refine the question.
Like for instance, some people like read.
Yeah.
Some people need like 10 minutes to themselves just to be able to like think things through, just and have a quiet time.
Yeah. I would. It might be cliche, but I would say Salah is that time,
cool.
and that after Salah time when you're still just chilling on the floor basically, and you can find yourself. You get comfortable after you've done Salah, and you can just sit there, and whether you're thinking whatever it is you're thinking is generally quite a nice time. So I would generally say that's my time to reflect. If you're doing dhikr and afterwards, that's probably my time, to be honest. And
also because when you're in the process of the remembrance of Allah, and also thinking of because you're thanking Him for your blessings, also making dua for the things that you'd like in your life as well, it does kind of center you and purify your intentions. Because think about it, like, this is what I find incredible with anyone day to day. So I could be on this podcast and being so genuine. However, you may not know there might be and I might not even be aware of the deep down hidden agenda behind this. Or if I say something to someone, my words and actions could say one thing, but the deep down intention could be something else that I might not even be aware of, that might be a little bit off. But the one time when you're speaking to your creator, bro, you can't even dare have an ill intention, and your brain just doesn't. So you're only thinking of things that are pure. Like genuinely the obvious things, like give my family good health, and protect us from, the bad in this world and things like that. And you're thinking like in your daily interactions, you're not necessarily thinking that. So you do need that time to really remind yourself of like, look, if I don't have any of this, you just want family to have good health, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
it.
For sure.
It's sorry to interrupt you, bro.
No.
It's humbling just because ultimately we think we've got it all under control and stuff, but ultimately the control lies with Allah's hands. Do you know what I mean? He's the one who decides exactly what's going on. So when you like whatever you've got X amount of things going on, family, business, loads of stuff going on, but ultimately He's the one who's looking after it all for you and making sure everything's running smoothly. So having that connection with Him, and almost just when you have got a lot on, you feel that pressure, just asking Him to make it easy for you, and understanding that it's not all on you. Ultimately, we think it, as the men, we think it falls onto us, running the family, running the business and stuff. I'm sure you feel it. I feel it. Ultimately, it's not even my worry. It's all in Allah's hands, and we just go with emotions. We do our means, but ultimately, whatever He throws at us, whatever test He gives us, whether it's good or what seems to us bad, like when you can really program that into your mind, that whatever Allah gives you is only for the good of you. So I've just myself and Josh had a chat yesterday. We were running through various things, and we've been tested in a few ways, and we were just talking about the fact that it can't always be good. And without these tests that we've faced, all these problem solvings, this and the other, like I wouldn't have had the year I've just had. Of like, if you look at it on paper, there's a few things that questionable, and it's been testing for me. But the outcome of getting through all these business, these are all businesses, nothing overly serious business stuff, but learning this problem solving and getting through it all has just raised me.
Yes,
alhamdulillah,
100%.
Because I'm still very new to business, 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years,
Mashallah.
properly having a business that's running. And as you know, things will constantly change, but like it's healthy it's healthy having these things that, like, at first it may seem like a bad negative, but when you get through it when you really work out what's just happened, you've just learnt a whole new skill set from yourself that you didn't even knew that existed. It's beautiful, man.
But they say that the greatest rewards on the other side of struggle, on the side of fear.
Yeah.
You know, like anything that is like scary is scary for a reason.
For sure.
And when you get through it, you know, it's like that adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
But you have to go through that, you know, and because a great way of thinking of this, and I spoke about it on my podcast last week, is if someone came to you, let's say 5 years ago, how long have you been married, by the way?
3 years.
Okay.
So 3 years.
5 is a good example then. So let's say 5 years ago, and gave you a book, and in it there was like one side of it just had notes on it, your bullet points, and it said 2017 this will be your life, you'll be married to this woman, you'll have a child, you'll have this business, all this kind of stuff, and wrote down a piece of paper and gave it to you, bro. You would literally throw that away, like pick it up, scrunch it up, rip and put it on fire and throw it in the bin. You'd be like, how on earth is that even possible? That's not in my wildest dreams. And it would give you shivers, you know, because you'd be like, if that can happen, you would like, I would bet the world's wealth on this happening. Bro, and it happens. But we don't look at our life in our retrospect. So even now, when you look at your problem, sometimes when I've got a lot of stresses going on, I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me just imagine someone's giving me this book now. And in there, all these things that can happen in the next 5 years. They're gonna happen because they're Allah's will, and they're always gonna be greater than what I expect. So these are just probably part of that, because in these 5 years, in me getting all of these things that I never thought I'd have 5 years ago, they've been struggles.
Of course.
You know, and that's been part of the journey. But what I have right now, if someone said to me, you're gonna have to go through your struggles to get that, bro, I'll be like, 100%, because I want that. So it's kind of like that, you know, just weighing it up. So I think that's very interesting.
For sure. Character building, isn't it? Also.
Yes.
Yeah, bro, do you know what? I'm conscious that I butted you in earlier when we were going to discuss kind of this new project that you were working on. And I think that people are going to be really intrigued to hear about it.
So this whole product idea came about because Flavr is just an agency I set up a year ago. The reason I kind of set that up was, once I got married, I was just working from home as a freelance designer, just doing projects. Now, there was a couple of battles with me. The positive is, doing freelance projects, you make good money. You get to keep all the money because you're working by yourself, and you get to work, you know, according to your own flexible timings. But the problem I found is that too much freedom is poisonous, and especially being married, you do need space. You need, and every man, I don't want to say man necessarily is, I don't want to be like, it's not a sexist thing, but I do think independently you need your own kind of space in which is just not related to anything. And especially me being driven the way I am, I found that just being at home, it wouldn't give me that. And then I tried to go to coffee shops, and I didn't have that kind of sense of being centered. So then Faisal and I just started looking for offices. And then we looked for offices, and that was just again to carry on doing my design stuff, and that's where we end up here. In that space, what happened was my social started growing. Faisal's brand, mashallah, started growing, and my wife had done a lot online as well. And then people were just kind of messaging me, and close people around me were just asking, you know, can you give us some advice? Like, how do you do this? Like, how do you gain followers and grow brands and stuff? And I was like, well, I've never seen it as that. We've just been doing what we're doing organically. But then I could see that there is a formula in this to an extent. You know, there are certain things that check boxes. And I thought, and then they wanted me to consult for them, and I was like, I don't want to necessarily consult, you know, because I just don't like the model of that. So maybe if I set up an agency, that will give me something new to do.
So did you move into this office not knowing that you wanted to create Flavr and a team and stuff? So just for yourself, basically? That's it. Really?
Yeah. So it was only going to be Faisal and I in our office.
Yeah.
And then what happened is I then had this idea of, I don't know where Flavr came about. I think I was speaking to my friends. We went out for dinner one time, and I just had this kind of passion, because I did run an agency a few years ago, but it wasn't to this scale at all. And I got put off the whole agency model then. But then I thought, you know what, let me try it again, and let me do it my way. You know, let me employ people the way I want to employ them. Let me, you know, create a system here that I'll be proud of. You know, like I wanted to. Ultimately, the thing I do online is I can give people an insight into my world and hope that they implement into their life somehow. But I don't control the end to end. You know, and what allows me to do in running my own companies, I get to control the end to end. You know, I get to make sure that I create an environment that I want people to work in. I get to ensure that, you know, any problems they're going through in their personal lives, I can be there as a sense of, you know, guidance, you know, and I can learn from them as much as they can learn from me. And ultimately I can help see that through, like, physically. So, you know, if there's anyone like in my team team who's like looking to get married, for instance. I'm married now, so it's Faisal, you know, so we can maybe help guide you in
So
that.
be a mentor as well.
Yeah, man, and I enjoy that. I really enjoy like seeing someone's life to change, because I didn't have that. In fact, I had a very bad example of that in my life.
Right.
And again, it's hurt people. I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So I thought, I've had a bad example of that. I want to do as much as I can to be the opposite of that to as many people as I can. So as soon as I started Flavr, the mistake, like with you go through these trials and tribulations, I almost overemployed. So what I did is I thought, okay, I needed, in this pursuit of trying to make this environment, I forgot that I need to run a business. So I would just employ, bring in people, grow, not necessarily look at
There was a phase where like there was so many interviews happening, people coming in and out in it.
We went through a crazy phase of just like, and also to be honest, it came out of a fear of, I knew my wife was going to be, my wife was pregnant at the time. And I thought, okay, now she's going to have a baby in 6 months. Don't know how my life's going to change. So I need to be able to build this company fast.
You wanted to create something, you wanted to create a business rather than a job, in the sense that you wanted to create something that you didn't necessarily have to be in for it to generate you money? Or was that not really the intention?
Not necessarily that, but I think that's where I got confused, because it was more of a thing where I thought I could scale faster than, you know, I probably could. I thought that just getting people in and setting up a way of them being able to, you know, work and, you know, work on projects and get stuff done, it might actually increase revenues and allow me to stabilize, income in the company, and also be able to navigate myself to my family for a bit and handle that side of it. What happened though is I started leaving a bit too many responsibilities on other people's shoulders that should primarily have always been mine.
Right.
You know, and that was come from the point of view of, again, coming from a place of like, can I run a company that's just loving? You know, no, you can't, you know, because, and one time Faisal actually gave me the example of you. He actually said the way you are with your team. And, you know, that made a lot of sense to me. And he said, you have to have moments where there is just black and white, you know, and I wasn't doing that too often. I was like, someone would be like, yo, I want to do this. I was like, yeah, cool. And this all this year. And then like, because I didn't want to be the type of guy that people like, when I'm not there, are like, oh man, he's like this. But ultimately, bro, you are running a business and it's in their interest anyway. In a long term, they're going to be grateful for that. So you have to be like that. So that's one thing I learned. And then what happened is also in giving people that freedom, it actually impacted the business in a negative way where, you know, things weren't getting done properly. You know, just things, there's a bit of laziness happening in certain areas, and the people who are actually doing well weren't getting recognized. You know, I wasn't able to see that because, you know, maybe the credit shifting here and there, and I'm only in communication with a couple of people. So then just before, I think it's during Ramzan time, we just kind of completely downsized. I was like, and alhamdulillah, it went very well.
You went on a firing spree.
It was easier than I thought. You know, I hadn't really fired people like that ever. You know, so some of it was tough, but generally, I think the people who had to take the sidestep knew why. And the good thing about, you know, the way we've hired here is that the people we've hired are very mature, very understanding, and, you know, have good intentions. So I think that made it easier. And as soon as that happened, bro, this whole kind of veil got lifted off of me, which allowed me to just breathe. And I could be like, okay, hold on. Now I only have like, let's say I had 5 core team members. I had a couple of part-time people as well. So we have Dowd that comes in weekly because he's at university now. We have Reese, who's a designer, who comes in as and when there's projects I needed for him to work on because he comes from far away. So that made things a lot easier for me. So my overheads, first of all, got lifted. I was able to focus on my finances. Again, that was a time when James came into my life a lot more. So James actually, so Sam and I have the same accountant. And he's an incredible guy. And he made me realize a lot as well. And he said, oh my, look, he goes, the way your business is going, it can be a very, very successful business in its first year. But you do need to focus back on the business itself. And I said to him, look, I don't want to change the environment. And he goes, you don't have to. He goes, in fact, if you just, you know, do things in a certain way, people actually respect him more, because since I've downsized, again, the painful thing was having to downsize, because in my head, it was like, it looks or seems on the outside like failure. You know, but internally, it's actually more long-term success. And now my relationship with the boys is a lot better, alhamdulillah. Like, I can communicate with them a lot better. I know what's going on. I'm very much involved in what's happening. And the responsibilities I do give to them, they can handle. So what that allowed me to do, just as, you know, my daughter was born and phasing back into work, is it stabilized a lot of the operation, which meant that they could handle our clients independently. And if they had any serious problems, it was very easy to communicate with me and me to implement situations.
So would you say at first you put a little bit too much responsibility on other people's shoulders? Where, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I was focusing too much on the environment.
Have you experienced that before, Sam?
Experience what?
Too much responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting. Because I think that this one particular phrase stays with me. And it's no one will love your business as much as yourself. So no one will love your business as much as yourself. As in, no one will love your business as much as yourself.
100%.
Although I have some incredible staff, like in Men's Spa 59, there's such good people. I will still see things in those places of work that they won't see. Their eyes won't pick up on. I'll go to the toilet and see that there's something on the floor there and the bin needs to be emptied. I see things they won't see purely because it's my business. And I think that it's nice you delegate and you find good leaders within your team that can do certain things. But what it comes down to is no one will love your business as much as yourself.
Exactly,
and
man.
Don't take your eye off your business.
Bro, and I think that was I wouldn't say mistake because it's all learning curves. But
all learning,
it really did impact me.
Yeah.
But the other thing side of it is that when I started seeing, like, in our nature of business, we're literally growing brands. So what happens is people trust you with their baby.
Yeah, of course.
And you're literally saying, look, we're going to look after your baby and give your baby back in this condition. Now, you have to make sure you do that because it's their baby. It's their child. You're messing with their child. So when it got to a point where I was getting phone calls like, yo, Omar, look, like, I don't know if this is going down the direction we want it to go down. Or I asked, it's little things like a deadline would be missed. Now, because I'm not there to be able to control that, I got to figure out where that's going wrong. So I had to very quickly, before we lost clients, rein that back in. And that helped a lot. So now, in the last kind of few months, we were able to stabilize that. Alhamdulillah, our clients are a lot more stable. And it allowed me to be a bit more focused on the deliverables that we do offer them, rather than just throwing things. Because look, put it this way, effectively what I was doing is I was saying, ideally in a marketing agency, this is what brand should get. Sorry. Then I would say to my team, deliver that to them. Yeah. But what I would not realize is that some of those their job is to deliver what I'm saying because they assume, their pre-assumption is that Omar knows best.
Yeah.
So whatever he's giving us, he's already thought about. The reality is in some instances I hadn't thought about it. So I'm actually giving it to them and thinking, you know best. So you do it.
Yeah.
So then what I'm realizing is that, hold on, this is like a double-edged sword. Nothing's getting done.
Yeah.
And the client's the one that's losing out because they're like, hold on, if you can't do that, just say you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we can do it. Then what happened is as we downsized, I got great insights. I'd speak to Samir, who's our creative director. He would sit with me and said, Omar, look, on average, we're trying to churn out, let's say, 200 pieces of content for a client in a month. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's a lot. He goes, yeah, but that's what you asked for. I'm like, no, I said we should do like 3 shoots a month. He goes, yeah, but in 3 shoots, you get 200 pieces of content. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, we don't need to do that. All it took for me is to build a relationship with my clients again, where I was like, hey, bro, we're doing 200 pieces. You don't need 200. Yeah. We've looked at the stats, which we had, and it's actually counterproductive. We should drop it down. And they were like, yeah, cool, let's do that. And then we did that. Not only did it decrease the time that my team are spending on it, it also increased the growth of the brands. So that was just...
Well, there was too much content going out.
It was just oversaturation. Yeah. And look, if I come and say to you, look, Sam, we're going to give you 200 pieces of content a month, you'll be like, yeah, cool, you're getting more.
Yeah.
But in social... there's a certain there's a certain threshold and a certain numbers you have to play with.
Yeah.
With personal brands, having too much content isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because you're a personal brand.
Yeah.
With a brand like, let's say, Men's Spa or a burger chain, no one wants to see burgers 3 times, 4 times a day. You're like, oh my gosh, okay. However, if we target ourselves to really go hard at lunchtimes, or specific time, like you don't need to be posting a burger at 9 a.m. Why?
Yeah.
So we figured those things out. So alhamdulillah, in the last few months, we've got a hold over what we're doing and the boys are running that very well.
Do you find you get quite emotionally attached to these projects? Because obviously you want these businesses to be successful. And when I say emotionally attached, then you care?
Yeah, of course
you care. But getting emotionally attached to something can also add that kind of stress and stuff. And if you're dealing with, let's say, 10 different businesses, different brands that you're promoting, you obviously want all of those, you want to do your job correctly, which would mean those brands are getting bigger and growing and becoming more successful.
Yep.
So you're almost putting all of those businesses onto your shoulders as well. Do you ever feel that, or do you not look at it like that?
To be honest, it's another thing I went through as well, which was I do take that very seriously, still to this day.
Yeah.
But what I noticed is if I can say, going almost a bit too caring too much, in the sense that so for instance, like I even had like non-compete clauses in contracts with clients that weren't even paying me the rates that I'd actually want to be paid, but I was doing a concession for them because I wanted their business. But I'm reducing their rate to be able to work with them. And on top of that, I'm giving non-compete, which means I can't take on any businesses in their industry. So I'm turning away revenue that I could be making. So that's loyalty from my side. But then, like 2 months ago, we had a situation with a client where they gave me a phone call, and they're generally their sales are declining in their business for reasons outside because of competition or whatever. Now, what happens is when their brand's growing, you won't get credit.
Yeah.
But when their brand's declining, they'll point the finger at you, even though the circumstances aren't related to us.
Yeah.
They're like, why didn't you see it coming? And we're like, I don't know when someone's going to open up a new restaurant chain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they do it, we deal with it. So we have to be reactive in certain instances. Now, in that instance, because of their internal pressures, they lash at us and having a conversation with me saying, Omar, we're going to hire someone internally now to do our marketing. We're not going to have you. I'm like, hold on a second. I've laid off 8 months worth of potential business. I've given you so much concession and I've been loyal, and this is your response. And I'm saying that in my head, but I phrase that in the best way I could without getting angry. But ultimately, people just come out with the phrase "business is business," and you're like, "Oh my god!" And it gets you a little bit, and then you think to yourself, "You know what? Maybe I do need to be like that a bit." You know, in my own way. So I took away non-competes. I was like, "Okay, no, unless you're paying," because ultimately, to grow a brand, what I noticed, we charge, you know, fairly in terms of the market, but we're still a startup, so we have to kind of take a back foot in certain areas. But to really grow a brand, investment needs to go into it. Now, some of the brands don't, like, they're almost like, shall we, and that becomes a difficult process. Now, what I realized is I don't like the stress of sometimes growing a brand because of these emotional factors. It might be a personality trait just with myself, where I really want it to grow. So we do overinvest in certain areas maybe. But I wouldn't say I enjoy it. I think I enjoy building our brands. You know, I enjoy building Flavr. I enjoy building, you know, Shape Beauty, my wife's brand. I enjoy, you know, everything Faisal's doing, is Aha, we just spoke about. And to be honest, brands around us, like I have a huge passion for what you're doing at Menspire. You know, even like we have friends around us who are running great companies. Samir's just launched a new brand. Those things are because I know that they're not, the foundation is not based off a financial like kind of incentive. You know, like I'm not financially incentivized of anything Menspire does. However, any opportunity I can get to do something, I will do. But because the foundation is built off love, they're the brands that I've noticed that I'd rather care about, like on a great level, like in terms of growth, rather than the brands on this level, because these are just financial commitments. Now, also, a company like that can run. So I can run Flavr as a growth-based agency. But what I've noticed is that the one thing that people love about what we do and that they can't stop talking about, and essentially you have to listen to your customers, is the content we create. So this comes on to what we're doing now. There's a long story around it. So everyone is like, we love the content, we love the way our social feeds look and everything. And we're like, hold on a second, why don't we just do that? Why don't we just give them that? And then what I realized is that, how was Twitter formed? Twitter took, let's say you have Facebook. Facebook did all sorts. Twitter took the status. I made the status Twitter. Instagram took the photo. I made a photo Instagram. You know, that one thing. And YouTube is ultimately just the video. So I'm like, if I take social, now social media marketing is a new industry. So there's loads of innovations happening in it. And I was like, what if we just take content and we make content the thing? Now the problem is you have, you know, if you're a brand and you want to get content done, you have to probably hire photographers. They cost a lot every month. Then on top of that, you got to trust that the photographer knows how to create social content. So content that will actually impact your audience within its context, because content is different on Instagram than it is on Facebook. We know that. Then the speed. How can you create content fast? We know that. How can you create high quality content? We also know that. Now it's like, how do you get to the user? That was my problem.
Yeah.
How do I create something that allows the user to go from end to end? Now, building client relationships gives people the assumption that you're an agency. Now, when you operate as an agency, you're seen as an agency, from client services through to reporting, through to everything. But I want to operate as a product. That's why I'm so conscious of calling this a product, because essentially it's a platform. So I built this platform. Again, my whole thing was I wanted to be self-resourceful. So coded it myself, put it together, designed it. And it's a platform where brands can go onto. Doesn't matter what your size is, and the packages will be, be 3 tiers. The first tier will be, probably a few $100 a month, and that will give you a certain amount of images per month. That will just be bespoke for your brand. The second tier will be slightly more expensive. Will give you, probably double that, and then the higher tier, the highest tier will probably still be very, very cheap. Considering what marketing costs are, and that's just for content every month. Because I think there's a huge small to medium sized startup kind of range of businesses that need their socials to look good to get a kickstart. And I want to focus on that. So this platform allows businesses to literally go on there, sign up. Once you created your account, you get your own brand panel, we call it. In your brand panel, you can basically request content. So you have an allowance. Let's say you have 10 images per month that your brand gets. You can request what you'd like those 10 images to focus on, and we'll create them accordingly. Or you can just leave it to us, and we'll give you what we think looks best based on our expertise. And it works for both product-based brands and location-based brands. So you'd sign up either as a product or location. And for locations, we're only rolling out in London for now. We would literally schedule a time with you and come to you once a month and create the content in store. We'll bring our studio to you. So let's say you're a restaurant, you can cook your dishes there. We'll come into your kitchen. Then on top of that, if you're a product-based brand, we come and collect your product. So we pay for the collection. We collect the products. We house them internally. And then we create your content every month for you. So all you do, every month you have a content cycle. We call it Smart Cycle, the way it works. So let's say your date is the 15th of every month. 15th of every month, you get new content. You get notified, content's ready. Then you roll that out yourself on your socials. So we don't worry about how you implement it. That's up to you. We just give you the tools you need to do that. And kind of the thinking behind the operation of it was, I was listening to a interview with Jeff Bezos, who runs Amazon. And again, this whole thing of looking at people that are successful and seeing, why they are the way they are. He's a family-oriented guy, very, very calm, very calculated in his decisions, and always happy. So when you see him, you're like, this guy literally tap dances to work, he says. And I'm like, why? He's running one of the most successful companies in the world, and yet our operations are nothing to that scale, and we stress ourselves out. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be something in the way he is that makes him that way. And he said, someone was asking to him, how do you make business decisions? He said, I focus on assurities. He goes, why would I bet my business on things that might not happen? Even if something's like a slight risk, why? So for instance, he says there are 4 core principles in Amazon. It's low prices, vast product selection, great customer service, and exceptional customer service and fast delivery. So he said, those are scenarios that I don't ever see going wrong. He said, I don't see a scenario in 20 years time when someone comes to me and says, hey Jeff, I love Amazon. However, you deliver a bit too fast. Yeah. That's not going to happen. So I thought, okay, let me apply that to this product, what we're doing here. So we have fast content, high quality content, fast delivery, exceptional customer service, and those are 3, weren't they? Yeah. And that will allow us to make sure that we're constantly delivering the best, and we're not going to have a scenario where someone's going to come to us and say our content doesn't look quite good enough. Talk to
me about customer service, because it's something that's been on your mind a lot recently. Why is good customer service so important to you?
So I'll think about a scenario that just happened the other day that I spoke to Faisal about. But I think customer service is just something that I think should always be good anyway. By the way, Menspire do it incredibly well.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, mashallah. You guys are a genuine, I'm not even saying this because you're here, a great example of customer service. From the way when you walk in, you're not just in a barbershop, you're in your world. And I think that's one thing that is important to understand, is that as soon as someone is interacting with your business, they're in your world. And you decide how they feel emotionally, So when you get your haircut, you're offered a drink, You know, your barbers are very,
Someone takes your coat.
It's like, but they communicate very heavily to you.
You're greeted with a smile from Mahi.
That's it.
Instantly.
And you everyone speaks to you. You know, so all these little things up until the point you leave, you get given, the towels. Every single thing, mashallah, is beautiful. And then the great thing about that is you're asked if you want to rebook. So there's a follow up. Those are things, and I've taken a lot from that as well. And what I was thinking about this is, I want people to not just feel like they're getting images taken from them by a photographer. We want you to feel as if, okay, we want you to tell us about your brand so we can implement that into the next month's content. We also want to, provide a customer service where I called up a restaurant the other day. It was Giraffe in Bayswater. I called them and just to ask them if
they paid for a sponsorship.
They asked if their food was halal. The lady answered and she's like, I think, let's say her name was Becca. Good morning, Becca speaking from Giraffe. How can I help you? Bro, it was so, her tone of voice, her attitude. And normally in a restaurant, it's like, hello, and there's so much noise in the background. And it's like, bro, I was like, is your food halal? She goes, unfortunately, it's not, sir. However, there are certain chicken dishes that are halal.
Yeah.
Why don't you look at the menu? Tell me what you want, and I'll ask the chef so we can do it for you.
Wow.
Bro, and I was like, wow, like, you don't even know me.
Yeah.
You have no,
Yeah.
and you might not even get business out of me. But I might even go there for a vegetarian meal now because of the way they are. So then I went to 2 days ago, my wife and I got invited to Child's Play Clothing. And they have a store in Ilford. And we went there.
That?
Bro, the most
You would love
incredible customer
I
service.
follow on Instagram.
You
Sam,
would
you have
love
to,
it.
bro, they were immense,
Really,
man.
yeah?
Like, first of all,
Such a you thing.
this
Yeah,
wasn't
that's it.
just because we were so we were invited there as guests, but
so
I
you
don't
looked
think
after.
but I don't think the way they'll treat everyone, it was like that. And I've heard
Really?
good things about the company in general.
Yeah.
But from when we walked in, they took us, let us look around the shop a bit. Then they took us to this gold room. Yeah, to have this room made, which is all like gold. And
Really?
you're sitting there. And we were just sitting there. And it's so smart, bro. And I genuinely believe this is intentional.
Yeah.
They left us alone for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I believe they leave you alone so you can really take in and almost prime your mind about how incredible their business is. So you're sitting there and all you're think about it, yeah?
Sick. Did you
Think-
get them? I follow them. They use some
So
amazing
they gave
clothes,
us
man.
those, but for
These?
girls. Yeah, well, yeah, but just like kind of that bit, but it's a girls one, yeah.
Nice.
So imagine, yeah, this is why psychologically I think, like, if you walk into a store, all right, cool. Now they have to do certain things that make the store look good, okay? So that's fine. Now you go into a room, the room looks great. Now what's going to come of that? We're not going to sit in there and talk about our daily problems as husband and wife. Yeah, we're going to talk about how beautiful this room
Yeah,
looks.
Yeah.
And then how great the clothes are outside. We can't wait to see them. And then 5 minutes later, then the director walks in. It's like, hey, good afternoon. Have you guys looked around? Knew about our personal life.
Really?
We've never met her before. How are injections? How's she doing? How's this? I was like, wow, like you really have looked at our socials. So that made me feel very welcome. And then the way they treated us, what drinks do you want? And then, having us look around, really trying to find what we wanted, which is beautiful. And afterwards, we went for lunch, my wife and I. And we were thinking to ourselves, all we spoke about during that lunch was a customer service.
Yeah.
We were like, we can't believe how... And then I called Faisal, I told him. I told my entire team yesterday. She went to her mum's house, told everyone there. I'm like, 15 more people have learned about this company just off them doing human things. Why don't people do that?
Yeah.
So that's something that's very, very important and how I want it to be, because I just don't think it's done enough, man.
Yeah.
Does your mindset of that come from, where did that even come from?
My mindset of customer service comes from I started my career working in female salons, predominantly female salons, where the customer service is the main thing. So I was taught from a young age how to ask clients for drinks, how to make people drinks. Although it was slightly patronising at the time, how to present a apple juice, a coffee, this, that, and the other. Like, it had a massive impact on me because when me and Josh were talking about setting up Menspire, it was very much like the experience that you've both had, is having that customer service is a massive part of the salon, but men don't often get it in a barbershop. And in a barbershop, it's too relaxed, it's almost a bit dirty. It should be dirty, and you shouldn't have any kind of order. But we're anti that. We're very much appointments, service, coffees, drinks, the whole shebang. So that for me is always what I've known with my own career, and just pushing it. And I'm not satisfied with the level of customer service that we have. I would class Menspire as 3-star, purely because of location and where we are and stuff. But inshallah, the goal would be to create a 5-star service where you get that extra bit, which we can't do. I mean, where we are now, it wouldn't work in St Albans, Hatfield Road, but maybe in Mayfair or Knightsbridge or somewhere really exclusive, almost like each barber has a separate room where the client can have their own sort of space to. There's a shop in Mayfair that exists that each barber has their own private room. It almost turns into the customer's office. And I love that. And it all comes down to customer service. At the end of the day, all you're doing is cutting hair. Yeah, and really, a haircut's a haircut. Now, how do you go from just someone who cuts hair to someone who can generate some good money through cutting hair? Is service. Yes. It comes down to service.
Because I think one thing that you guys have, if I look from psychological perspective, is you don't feel as if you're just another appointment slot. You know, and obviously the whole life going to barbers, you do just feel like you're another slot in their calendar, or you're just the next guy next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, cool, next. And you're like, oh man, but when you're at Men's Spa, you know your barber who you're going to.
Yeah.
You go there, you know, it's a proper treatment. You're not rushed, like to the point where even I've, like, you know, after I've had my haircut, gone to the bathroom and be like, oh man, like maybe I could have had my beard a little bit different here. And Midge is cutting someone else, but we'll still say to customers, give me 2 seconds, and we'll get his trimmer out and just shape me up a little bit again. And just, he can easily, like, if he didn't give that vibe to me, I might feel like, oh man, like I can't ask. But he's very open. He never says no.
Yeah.
So I just think that's and even to a point where your other barbers are critiques of each other's haircuts. So if they notice someone's going to pay, they'll be like, hey bro, like, you know, maybe you could have fixed this here. And then like they'll help each other out. It's beautiful.
I remember when I was getting my haircut, and it had been a minute, and I was getting my haircut from Midge and Gianni, who I absolutely love. Big up Gianni, man.
He reminds me of Only, man.
Oh, but Gianni's the guy.
Doesn't he remind you of Only?
Anyway, Gianni, I love it. So I'm getting my haircut from Midge, and you know, Gianni comes in the shop halfway through, and he's chatting to me, blah blah. My haircut's finished. Gianni just looks at me and he goes, "Wow." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Bro, that treatment's really made a big difference, isn't it? Like, you look amazing." And even though I could have got offended, but like, what, did I look that bad before? But I already knew I looked the best. So, and then after Gianni said that, I was like, I'm doing it. No, I felt like Gianni's the guy, but just little things in there, because he's not even my barber, so he has no he doesn't necessarily have a obligation to critique my haircut. But he didn't just say, "Oh bro, you look good," but he looked at my haircut and he goes, "Oh bro, Midge, did you like do there, did you do that?" And Midge was like, "Yeah, I did this, did that, the other." And John was like, "Oh, I wouldn't have thought to do that. That's a really good idea." And it worked perfectly. And they were both like kind of analysing like the haircut that he gave me. And just that in itself, and the other thing it did is it brings a sense of like humbleness to all your barbers, because everyone in the shop is always asking the other person's opinion or how they did this, how they did that. I remember Gianni actually, again, he had another person, he had a fresh person on his chair who he's never cut before. And he was just looking at his hair for a while, and the guy kind of basically said, "Look, do what you think works." He had really long hair, and he wanted to like have a completely new hairstyle. And so Johnny sat on my chair, he was looking at him, and he was like, "I'm thinking about doing this." And then he was asking Midge's opinion. He was like, "Midge, what do you reckon if I do this?" And Midge was like, "Yeah, I think that's a really good idea," or "Nah, change that up." And John was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good idea." And like there was a certain level of humbleness. It wasn't like, "No, I know best."
Bro, I had a guest on Tuesday who shadowed me for the day in the salon, and he came up to me because Josh was just walking through, and he actually went up and started cutting Jonelle's client's hair. So Jonelle was just doing a haircut, and then suddenly now Josh is now doing this guy's hair. And this guy came up to me saying, "What's going on over there?" I said, No, this is it. This is fine. Like, Jonelle is humble. Josh, I think he asked Josh a bit of advice, and Josh ended up just putting like a little bit of his time into cutting it. And he goes, does the client not mind? I said, think about that client. They're having a great haircut from a senior stylist, and then suddenly the director of Men's Spa has walked in, who's just come over and put that extra bit of effort to ensure that the haircut is the best it could possibly be. Now imagine you as that client, you're getting looked after anyway, and then suddenly the boss is coming over and making sure that his expertise is going into the haircut as well, to ensure the haircut is the best it could be. Now that's genuine. That's how we operate, and it's not about the barber being like, "Oh, why is Josh coming over fixing my haircut?" He invited him over. "Can you help?" Because that's being humble. Like we all have a skill set in Men's Spa, and I would say every single stylist and barber is incredible. There's definitely the barber next to him who knows something that he wouldn't know.
The best way of describing it is basically culture.
Yeah, for
sure. And also as a business owner, you know what you ultimately the level of quality everyone should be delivering.
Yeah.
So you know your the people you trust in the salon all know that they're going to get that result.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be anyone that's going to come along and touch someone's hair that's not going to get that result.
For sure.
So I think that's important too.
For sure.
It's beautiful, man.
Alhamdulillah. So that was in a nutshell. We were talking about your next venture, and you was talking about service, and service is going to be a big part of it. Yeah,
Inshallah, man.
because
Inshallah,
when we spoke last week about this, which I love that conversation, bro. I messaged you afterwards, but
that was very
I
cool.
actually on the walk back, on my canal walk from the office to the station, I called a couple of people about our conversation, because it gave me a little. It was a reminder. Do you know what? Because Glenn, who is the director of Menspire Dublin, he'd recently had one of his clients who was in marketing, owned an agency and stuff, and had a similar kind of chat and got really inspired. And we were just talking about moving forward as a brand and how important marketing is. And our conversation was just like, I think what you've created is something like myself, who, end of the day, I'm a small business owner.
Yes.
And I would love to make my marketing grand, epic and huge, but that costs such a huge amount of money. It was always something that I always think in my head, I'll work towards it. Now, what you presented me last week, now your new venture, is something I think that everyone and anyone who has created any kind of business can use, and it's affordable, and it's very it's inviting. It's, I think, for like myself, the common man who owns a business, is very inviting. I can see how by using this product could enhance my business for a very reasonable rate, rather than. Although I'm not saying people who charge for marketing. Obviously, there's the cost is there for a reason, but it's intimidating for small businesses. Some of these costs. So I think that there's something out there now, because there's so many small businesses, so many people out there, entrepreneurs setting up this, that, and the other. If there's a bit more of a support platform for them, like what you've created, I think it's just what we need.
Thanks, bro. I mean, I think also I wanted to the price was very important to me to bring it. Now it's funny because I was speaking to so many different people initially, and I'd stopped speaking to people because everyone, some people we speak to are very business driven, and they're like, profit. You can charge more, and I'm like, no, like there needs to be a purpose behind this. The reason this works right now, if I set this product up at the same time last year, it wouldn't have worked because I needed to, in terms of like stability, it wouldn't have worked. Right now, because the way Flavr set up, we are, alhamdulillah, stable as a company to the point where we have a team, we have office space, we have studios, and we have equipment. So we can afford to launch a product and, charge how we want. Not how we want, how the customer would want. So if I can do that at this stage, I'm not losing out. So I'm not going into this as a straight let's make profit venture. I'm going into it, how does this support businesses? And do we provide something that's actually got a gap in the market? If it does, then I'll find ways of scaling it. I'll find ways of, because the other side of it, what we do have is, put it this way, if you reverse engineer this, a marketing agency, technically, their job is to make you see value in something and make you pay it. That's like with anything, right? So if you look at my personal brand, for instance, right? This is actually very interesting. Like, what do we do for my personal brand? We film content, we edit content, we take pictures, put it on socials, we create graphic content, create quotes, all this kind of stuff. We do this all by ourselves. An agency in the UK and around the world, on average, for that personal brand, will charge $25,000 a month. Just to do that for one person. So if I was Omar Choudhry, wanting my Instagram to look good, 25 grand a month.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Who has that kind of money lying around? It's stupid. So now you're assuming you got to be a high-end CEO or you've had a massive exit and you got money.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought was crazy. Now I was breaking it down. I was like, that's perceived value. People are out there paying on that perceived value of, okay, we're going to edit your video and we're going to make you look like this and everything. In reality, it's not that difficult. Yeah. It's not at all. Like, you can just do it. And we're like we have an incubator in the sense that we know what it takes to create that stuff. So just in terms of like, it's very important, I think, to like over deliver with clients as well. So we have clients that don't necessarily need specific content created for them. However, there might be something that's very important to them. We'll go out of our way to create, like, let's say, a specific visual graphic that's like a video for them that will impact their business, but they're not necessarily paying for it. However, the perceived value of it is so great to them because wow, like, that looks amazing. But we know in actual fact that takes an hour to do. But another brand would try and overcharge you for that. So that's basically what I'm trying to do with this. And then the base packages are low rates. And then what you can do is we have this thing called add-ons, which I'm going to be releasing in the second phase, which will basically be things you can bulk on to build up your package. So let's say you do pay for just content. You might then turn around and say, I want Instagram story content. That's an add-on. So for a minuscule amount per month, you can bolt that on. And then you could take it away as you want. So if your business only needs it for this month, add it and then take it away. There's no contracts and cancel anytime. So it really gives all the control to the company. So inshallah, that is
Inshallah.
yeah.
It sounds
is,
fantastic.
yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you, man.
One question. This is kind of aimed for both of you. Maybe I'll do this to Big Face.
Sorry, man. We've so neglected you.
Nah,
bro.
I'm good, bro. I'm always talking so much.
I know it's true. It's
Yeah.
weird for me to be the one like talking.
I like it. I like
yeah.
hearing you talk.
So when I first met Big Face in Gambia, I could see that he was very into the social media. He was creating vlogs and this, that, and the other. And then I've obviously been introduced into his whole world, which is obviously yourself and these studios and everyone around, like Red, Nate, etc. And it's very much social media driven, and it's about personal brands and stuff. How and why did you choose to go down the avenue of social media and personal branding and all this kind of stuff? How did you get inspiration for it, and why did you decide to do it?
But I think here's a fact that's just a fact about life, yeah. As humans, people are interested in personalities, not into brands. People want to have, and that's why even when you find the biggest brands in the world, a lot of them have. Think about when brands have campaigns. What do? They first of all they find the face for the campaign. If you think about Old Spice, they've got that Isaiah guy who's like, you know who I'm talking about, and they've also got Terry Crews. They're the faces of the brand, and the reason is because when you're looking. Before they started this campaign that became one of the most successful campaigns of like 2015 or something, that was literally marketing wise the most successful campaign that had been seen, and it had blown out so many campaigns, right? Just because, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, the guy who was like, "Hello, ladies."
Yeah, I remember that.
My man,
we're sitting on a horse and that.
Yeah, before then, Old Spice was seen as this thing that only old men buy,
yeah.
and he turned it into a thing where if I get Old Spice, I'm gonna become like that. And the point is, bro, and then he became massive celebrity, whereas before he wasn't huge. Point is that people buy into personalities, people don't buy into brands,
right?
And so. Imagine if you can like flip it, and instead of creating a brand and attaching a personality to it, you just have a personality and you turn it into a brand. Yeah. And it's like now people are just buying into the personality. How did
you discover that?
Not that I'm trying to pull the wool over people's eyes.
No. I hear what you're saying. But how did you discover that and decide that this is what I want to do? Is it just something as you're growing up you noticed people vlogging?
I think my outlook on Faisal is that I think he has a incredible personality, mashallah, like charisma, and he has a natural this sense of humor and this kind of this kind of edge, which I think is very entertaining. So, and I think you were like holding yourself back by not putting it out. So if anything, I just think it's natural to you, man, and it can only like benefit you.
But I think you guys must be so used to the concept of social media, where it's not a new thing to me by all means, but to the extent of what you know about it, and like you say, there is a formula of how to be successful on social media. But I mean, was it something when you were younger you were discovering people making money via YouTube or this, that, and the other? Did you see it like that, and you wanted a part of it, or is it's just naturally part of your evolution of growing? You've obviously been on social media and you've just ended up on it. Because I would say before I discovered this, I wasn't as aware of like personal brands and stuff, and what you guys are doing. It's inspired me to do and understand really the power of a personal brand. But before discovering you guys as such, I wasn't as accustomed to being like, you're on your story, you're talking. Where does it come from? I think it's
obviously. I think there's definitely an element of it just coming naturally, and then secondly, because it's somewhat natural, you do look more into that space, and you realize that yes, there are a lot of people who are making personal brands and becoming like weirdly incredibly successful.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Where it's like amount of money that you think. That is insane. What
can you give me an example of what you mean?
There's people. So for example, there's some of the biggest YouTubers in the world are making $1 million a month just off ads on their personal brand, and that's not off. Then on top of that, they've got sponsorships, they've got endorsements, they've got their own clothing line.
Serious money.
Serious money. Bro, $1 million a month is footballer money. Do you know what I mean? And they're making more than footballers because that's just how much they get off the ads. And so my point is that you can make a lot of money in your personal brand.
You're basically a media channel empire,
right? But the most beautiful thing about personal brand is that no one can take it because it's you.
Yeah.
No one can, like, even if you have an agent or you're signed to an agency, no one can be you. Essentially, the minute you die, it doesn't exist anymore. Right? So why not just own yourself, and as opposed to having something that I suppose other people can like, and you can create brands off of it. Like Izaha is not me. Izaha is its own brand. Someone can come tomorrow and buy Izaha off of me. And
so did you first start using YouTube because of Izaha to promote Izaha?
Offer a lot of money if you want to buy it. Sorry, huh?
Oh, so are you still talking?
I was trying to sell Izaha.
How much for?
A lot of money, please.
How much?
7 million.
And would you get that?
Two hats.
Would you get the wooden thing in the frame? 10 million with that. I think I'll give you a
Please.
Please. Except credit card.
Yeah.
Contactless. Mine's a little bit. I might give you the sob story angle first, and then I'll give you the strategy angle. So the sob story angle is I didn't actually intend on putting anything out on social media like that. What happened is when I a few years ago I'd gone through like just a massive dip in my kind of career and life and everything before I got married, and at that point I got my first office by myself. And then what I would do is all my friends would have Snapchat, and I just got Snapchat because they had it. It was just Snapchat first. And I would just start Snapchatting my day-to-day life as if I was just being me, normal, no intention to do nothing. But then it just got this massive traction on people following. But I think that was because I was, 21 or 22. For normal 21, 22, it wasn't normal to go to your own office every day and design and do your own thing. And then I'd touch on certain topics, which my outlook was probably a bit more mature for my age. So I think that's what got the audience. And then from that, I realized that, hold on, wow, when people started emailing me, messaging me saying that watching your stuff is actually having an impact on my life, I realized that there's actually no one like that and just being a bit niche here, Asian, Muslims, you know, a lot of times Pakistanis, Indians, you know, there's nothing for them there because we don't really have role models that are accessible to us in that way. You know, and I don't say this anyway, I don't think of myself as a huge role model to people in any kind of life. There's greater people in that, you know, in the history and out there, but if I can do anything that adds value to people's lives, it is very humbling. Cool. So being able to do that motivated me, and I was like, okay, let me continue to do that. But I'd never wanted to make it a money-making branding exercise. I always wanted to do it from an angle of showing you my journey in my life and having you tag along with it and then take snippets from it every day and apply it to your own. So almost like imagine I'm just walking with you every day and I'm just there, you know, as a friend. And that's kind of what stories allowed you to do. So Snapchat was the first example of that. Instagram stories allows you to do that very well now. And the Instagram story content itself is more like a timeline. So the more I share about my journey, they're like milestones because you can scroll through and you can see boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So if you think about it in the long term, in 5 years' time, there's going to be a very interesting Instagram feed. Yeah. You know what I mean? To go back. Because you also, if you just take this year, you saw in March when I posted a picture with Kareem, you saw in August when Kareem got married. Yeah. I never knew him in March. Then you saw when he went back to Spain to be with his family. That's a very interesting story. Yeah. So to me, now in that process, from a strategy perspective, yes, you get an audience. People become attached to you. Yeah. People follow your life, and that comes with its like challenges. But then where it does work out well is that I don't want to ever, you know, try directly profit off my audience per se. But if it allows me to have an angle to be able to say, look, I'm also doing this. It does allow you to get a good like kind of outreach marketing wise. So I think just having the balance of both. But for me, I always want to remind myself that, okay, where I make my money and my living is in the operations I run, and then my social media is just a window for you to see that, and then hopefully, you know, if you see what's going on in both sides, maybe it can either inspire you or you can.
But it's also like you can't ignore the fact that indirectly that because of social media is almost all of your business, or not all your business, but like a lot of your business comes in from that. And so you are monetizing off it. You're monetizing, but
you're not intentionally out of trying to just be like.
Fair. I don't think any. I know some people. I suppose some people are, but I don't think anybody. I don't think. I feel like if your intention to create a personal brand or social media was to simply just to make money and become rich, I don't think you could ever be successful because people can see through that.
Yeah, of course, people can see through it. Yeah.
But because you'd be like, oh, he's just trying to make money, or like he's only putting out posts that like are going to capitalize or that kind of this kind of stuff. But so I think anyone who's making money because of their personal brand, it is an indirect thing, and
100%.
Your main purpose cannot be to make money. Your main purpose has to be something greater than that, which is why people attach themselves to your brand. And indirectly, if you can do that and build it to a point where you can do that all the time, that is a level of success.
It basically is this like you have brands like that in your face every day. You accept them for being in your face and buying their products, and you know they're marketing towards you, and you accept it. It doesn't matter if they're lying or not. You could have, you know, a crisp brand in your face lying and telling you something just for marketing purposes, and you'll buy it because you accept the lie because you want a product. With what we're doing, is like, as soon as you tell a lie, it's like, whoa, you're fooling us. And it's like, well, that's what marketing's doing anyway. But it's not like your intention to try and do that. My point is that you have to be honest in the fact that, yes, this isn't for monetary purposes. However, in doing this and sharing things, you are gaining an audience and you are gaining a bigger route to market, you know. But if anything, you're trying to just be more genuine in what you're selling. You're trying to be like, look, like, this is us, this is what we're doing, this is what we sell. And hopefully through seeing how genuine our lives are and what we do, perhaps you're interested.
So if someone would just discover your page,
Yeah.
what would you like them to associate your personal brand with? What kind of feelings and thoughts and words would you like to be associated with?
I think the title of my podcast kind of says it. It's the mindset wealth for young leaders.
Say that again?
Mindset wealth for young leaders.
Sick.
So just how to develop your mindset, you know. And the reason I use the word wealth is because, so there's a difference between, they say, wealth and what's the other word? I can't even think of it right now. Being rich and wealth.
Rich and wealth,
Yeah.
different things, yeah.
Yeah, because wealth implies that it's across multiple things, and it's long sustained, you know. So I feel like your mind is one thing that if you develop wealth inside it in terms of your thoughts and the way you are, it will never leave you because it is your mind. So I really want to develop that in young leaders, because I do think, first of all, I want people to, no matter who you are, it doesn't matter if you're actually in a place of leadership, you should assume that you have the ability to be able to lead anything. You know, you have to be able to lead your own life. You have to be able to think that you have the ability within you to do something, you know? So it's like you know, when you have this a pursuit of something. If I told you there's £1 million in this spot right here, you don't know whether it's there or not, but you're going to be on a pursuit to find it because you want that £1 million. You have to believe that it's there in the first place. Same thing with a mindset. It's like people are like, you know, you feel depressed, you feel anxious, all these kind of things. However, if I can help you believe that you're already a leader, you have it in you. You might not be it right now, you might not feel it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Now, believe it's there. Now go on that pursuit to get it. So that's kind of what I want to try and get across.
What about you, Faisal? What do you want people to associate your socials with? Keywords.
Practicing young Muslim who is normal.
That's nice. That's humble as well.
I think that's beautiful.
I think people would probably discover you and think, yeah, do you know what, this young brother, mashallah, he seems really sincere and lovely.
I'm not the best Muslim in the world. I'm definitely not.
No.
But I would definitely want my social media to be where people to look at it, young brothers especially, and be like, oh wow, you can be a practicing brother who never misses, like will aims to like never misses salah, do everything according to the how Allah wills it. Obviously makes mistakes, but tries to correct his mistakes when he makes them. And even if that means that sometimes I have to do things that might humble me in public, or like quote unquote embarrass me, I'd rather do that. And so then people be like, oh wow, like even though it's embarrassing, like in the sense that if you make a mistake, you have to like be like, oh guys, look, I made a mistake, I put this out, this wasn't right. And maybe people can learn from it, but then also learn that you can just be such a normal person. Oh, a few times.
Have you?
A few times. I had to make a proper like a video on Instagram.
Really?
Like, yeah, man, a couple of times.
Well, when you made a mistake, you
Made a mistake in public, and I don't want 27,000 people to think that that's an okay thing to do. Or that like
It's
that is associated with like Allah's book or something.
It's interesting you say that, because I was on the walk down to the office today. Me and the brother were discussing about the fact that out of all of our week, this on the day of judgment might be the heaviest thing on the scales, because of the amount of people who are listening to what we're saying now compared to the rest of the week. Yeah,
it's true.
And it's subhanAllah, it's true. And you were saying that Tim Humble would listen to every single lecture he ever gives, like before giving it the okay to make sure it goes live. He'll go through it in detail. And he was saying, imagine going through your Freshly Grounded, ensuring that everything you've said.
It's true.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bro, these things are out there for a lifetime.
Yeah.
As there's great benefits to that, but there's also the fact of it that there'll be a point which you can't control it and it'll still be there.
Yeah.
It's just owned by YouTube, for instance.
Yeah.
And they just do what they want, you know, so.
It's true.
So yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Karen.
No, I was just going to say it's a good time to go to current events.
It is, yeah.
So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll head into some current events.
Cool.
Do
you have a theme tune for current events?
Is it recording? Yeah, is it recording? All right, and we are back, and we're going to jump straight into current events. Current events.
Red one.
Is that a thing?
That's it, Omar, yeah.
Is that really a thing?
It's been consistent from pretty much the first one.
No way.
Yeah, it's annoying because I have to just do what I did on the first day. I probably wouldn't have done that. But
How'd you get that bass, bro?
Bro,
I don't know how I get that base, baby.
That's like 7 foot worth of base.
Yeah, 6'5.5".
6'6" actually.
So do you reckon you grow any more?
Issue that to the viewers.
Sam, do you reckon you grow any more? That should be a stat in your. That should be a stat in your media pack.
What?
His height.
I think it's a stat everywhere.
I think because they have to know if people are inviting you guys. Like I'm sure Brother Shahid, when he invited you to buy, he didn't know how tall Sam was going to be,
Yeah.
so the doors had to be adjusted accordingly.
To be fair, you've been issuing my height as wrong though.
Sorry?
You've been issuing my height as
Wait,
wrong.
no, you're
I
guessing
issued
that
my-
6'6".
Nah, because
Have you measured yourself?
well, I measured myself next to someone who's 6'7", and I was only a tiny little bit shorter than them. He said to me over and over again.
I find
think
6'6".
so. Originally, I called myself 6'6", then I lost confidence in that and brought it down to 6'5".
Do you find that being
Right, let's
tall
say
is great for business negotiations?
Alhamdulillah. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't sit down when you're doing them.
You're 6 or something. You have no reason to lose confidence in yourself, man. You have every.
6'6". I'm going to say that. So officially, I'm 6'6"
And growing.
and growing. I hope not. Actually, I'm happy with that. Do you know what, Red? I feel like this stems back to a childhood experience that not many people know that I went through, which was I was at a water park. I was with lots of other children, my brothers and sisters, and lots of other children who were all older than me. Now they all queued up to go on this water slide ride. Now, out of maybe 6 to 7 children, I was the only one who couldn't go on this ride, and I was too small. So I really do remember walking away with teary eyes, actually praying to God. I was praying to God about making, please, God, let me be tall enough to go on the ride.
Well done.
Who knows? I don't know what's best, but that dua could have been the reason why I'm 6'6". But yeah, I'm literally, and I was young. Obviously, I was very young because I was too small to go on the ride. But I literally was praying to God, please make me tall so I can go on
He is
rides.
the answer of du'as.
Now you are the water slide. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, yeah, well,
Yeah, wow.
What about like your family or
family. My brother, I'm tallest. My brother's tall, but I'm the tallest. Yeah, my parents aren't particularly tall. Nah,
Yeah, you too. Like, I might have some things that are cool about me.
your hat's nice.
It's your hat. Let's just move on.
Okay, what's the first current event, Red?
Make it good one, Red. Please don't be depressing, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Do not give us depressing first
It
one.
will be.
Last couple
Hold on,
weeks,
do you guys-
couple weeks, our first current
so-
event has been really depressing.
I know,
Do you
you
guys
guys-
depressing? Switch it up.
Almost like you don't know how to take it.
Yeah,
It's
like we really joking up. And then it'll be like, someone just drowned, you know. And we're like,
Do you guys not know what's going to happen then? So this
nah,
is be unpredicted.
Red's pickings.
Well,
but
but I mean, it
I have a feeling it's going to be quite serious.
You know Red doesn't have a mic on him though, yeah?
Red, if it's serious, now he's mic'd up. Don't
And let's
worry.
just deal
You
with
just
it.
can't see the
Let's just
thing
deal with
there.
it. Let's just deal with it.
Red, let's just.
Okay, I'm not. I was going
skip,
to.
right,
but
yeah,
since
skip whatever.
Okay,
you're gonna-
I'll keep the depressing news for the middle and then
Right.
finish on a
That's
high.
nice,
and
yeah.
Okay.
Fine,
start
okay.
on a high.
Shahid, you on? Are you mic'd up?
My turn.
All right, let's see. We got 5 man here about to discuss some big time current events.
4 man and a half, I guess, if you're in the pit.
Sorry, it's my brother. I have to let him.
Sam bread.
First piece of news.
From Menspire.
Bit of Primula.
There was a baby girl who was just born after being cryo-frozen as an embryo for 24 years.
this, bro.
Hold on,
24
what?
years.
What?
So when she was an embryo,
Yeah.
she was cryo-frozen for 24 years. So in 1992, she was basically frozen up.
So she was conceived
She
in
was conceived
1992,
in
yeah?
1992.
She was conceived in 1992.
Originally conceived in 1992, but like as in like the embryo.
Yeah, embryo was.
And it was frozen. So she was technically conceived back then,
Yeah.
but born like yesterday.
Yeah.
Why did the parents do that?
Well, it wasn't necessarily the parents. So basically, what in pre-nuclear phase, yeah, the doctor.
You lost me
basically
at pre.
Huh?
You lost me at pre.
At the pre what?
Nuclear phase. So it's basically
Okay.
before they start going through meiosis, which is basically like multiplication of like the cells and stuff.
Yeah.
So before that happens,
His science knowledge is sick, by the way, mashallah. In it.
Yeah.
Before that happens,
You're
they
probably the
froze
best
it.
person to discuss this current event with, because our language be all over the place.
It's incredible.
So
how you put that
basically
sentence.
Meiosis, I'm like, all
I
right.
wouldn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to put a sentence like. Do it
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
They froze that away.
Why you talking about his sister?
They froze it away in an
Yeah.
embryo bank.
Okay.
And then now, 24 years later, so no, it wasn't now. It was 18 months ago.
Right.
What's her name?
The mum was 1
So
year
mum
old
was
when it was
the mum was
frozen.
Tina Gibson, and the mum was 25. Was 25 when she basically had the embryo transferred to her. Yeah.
Sure.
So the embryo is pretty much the same age as the mother
Wow.
who gave birth
The mother
to
was
the
born in
baby.
1991. and then
Okay.
it was
Does that make sense to you?
Right.
So in 1992, the embryo was frozen, and 1992, the mother also existed. So 24 years later, the embryo was transferred to her. She gave birth to the baby, and the baby is was
Doesn't make sense,
technically
Faisal.
at the same age as the mother.
Are you confused?
Wait, no, I'm confused. Why? What? So how old is the mother right now?
She's 26.
How?
No. Faisal, I explain to you.
She should be 50.
Look, all right. So the mother who
Right.
gave birth
Yeah.
is not the mother who conceived the child.
No.
Someone else, mother over here,
Mother A, mother
is
B.
her egg.
They
Yeah?
had sexual relations.
So the mother over here, 1992.
Crude. Don't make it crude.
No, I'm trying to understand.
Let him explain it to you then.
Look, the mother.
Conceived isn't a word that I
Don't-
understand.
Yeah, let him explain it to you.
So the mother over here with this blue cup,
Yeah.
had
Relations. Okay.
and then the egg.
Right.
Sat there.
Okay, but wait, hold on. Wait,
This mother who had the baby. Look, you're not looking at the cup.
No, but I don't understand, bro.
This mother, this woman,
Yeah.
Two mums,
is
one
her
cup.
egg.
Yeah.
And now she grew up. Yeah, so she's now, that was 1991. She's now in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
this
that's the embryo
egg
inside her.
inside her. Now she's
now
giving birth
she's
to
gonna
it. Yes.
Okay, but hold on. I got one question. How this woman who conceived it, yeah,
Yes.
how do they get the embryo from her?
They don't. They get the egg from her.
Oh, the egg. Okay,
So they take the egg from her.
fine,
And
fine,
then-
fine.
So
Wait,
Test-
so
test
is the
sense.
mother that conceived it still alive?
It doesn't say that.
Because whose child is it?
But someone else had triplets like that, you know that?
It's from an embryo bank from 24 years ago. So like,
Oh, so it's
like
unknown.
literally,
So
like
it's unknown.
yeah, like cryogenic science then was very new.
Is the baby okay?
Perfectly healthy? That's what's
Because this is the thing
Somehow
that strikes me.
triplets
It's
like
almost
that.
like going against
It
like.
feels to me like messing
Yeah,
with
it
the
does. I
creation of
know.
Allah.
I know. Which is
So-
like, almost like it sounds. But the fact the baby's fine.
Someone had
is
triplets like that as well.
Really?
I saw a picture, yeah.
It's nuts because they freeze it. They actually have to take hours to defrost it as well.
Okay.
That's how much they freeze the embryo. So like being in that condition and then coming out and being a completely healthy baby, like it's quite.
It's crazy how that freezing it doesn't
destroy any properties, right?
Yeah,
it's mad.
yeah.
That is great.
That's
Bro,
what's crazy about
insane.
it.
25 years, that baby had just-
freaking frozen. Yeah, 24 years later, I defrosts. You take it out of the freezer, defrost and
You sound like you're talking about microwave.
nah, it is, bro, that's so incredible.
defrost it.
But and the thing is, yeah, this was done 24 years ago, so the cryogenic science here would have been very, very new. So the methods would be very new. So now, the science would be so developed that you could probably do it for centuries.
I'm a big fan of defrosting and freezing because sometimes you can cook on a Sunday night and eat throughout the week by just defrosting your meals.
It's true.
Well done. You managed to have an adult conversation for 30 seconds. What's the next bit of news there? Ready?
Uber's Uber's got a lot of
Oh
problems.
no, we don't want to. You haven't seen our Dubai episode, have you?
No,
Red?
what happened to
No,
Dubai?
The
No.
Dubai debate.
We had a bit of a. Me and Sam had a bit of an on-air argument
What
about
was the
Uber.
debate? What was
Got
the debate?
heated.
Uber.
It was about Uber.
Yeah, I know. I
What was the
know
topic
that,
of
but
discussion?
What was the debate about? What was the conflicting?
We don't need to go through this now.
Well, you're very pro Uber. Not that I'm anti Uber, but you obviously you had an emotional attachment to Uber through a family member.
Right.
Where I had an emotional attachment through standard, normal, classic taxis.
Right.
Through friends, so we were both kind of like saying, because it was the time when they were talking about cancelling Uber London.
Sure.
So we were living their time now. Well, this is, which I don't think has even gone forward, has it? Hasn't even. It's not happening, is it?
I don't even know.
Well,
I
they're
think, I think
appealing
it has happened, but they have to refute it, and then there's a certain amount of time before it can actually be applicable. So
Yeah, but am I right in thinking the Uber will be used in London as normal?
Most likely, yes.
most
Yeah.
likely, I'm sure they will
Yeah,
find a way around.
it was at the time when we were told that Uber was going to be cancelled in London. So we had the discussion whether it was a good or a bad thing. Now you obviously had a family member recently who was doing well through Uber, and I think I raised the point that I had friends who were traditional taxi drivers who had
Who's
lost,
family friend, right?
who'd lost their, who actually stopped being cabbies due to Uber. There's people saying due to Uber. So we just had a conversation, the pros and cons.
It kind of ties into what you guys are talking about, but not so much. It's so the EU have basically ruled out that it's so Uber see themselves as what's it called? A service provided by Uber connecting individuals with non-professional drivers. So it basically sees themselves as like a information app, but they've been ruled out as that, and now they're like a traditional transport service, so like any other cab service in the EU.
I've heard
and they have
something
to
like
basically abide for all transport laws as opposed to what they would have done before. So it's completely different now. So that's put them back even more after the.
I've never ever used an Uber. in my
You've
life.
never used
Really?
Uber?
Never used Uber.
Shahid.
We used the Uber the other day.
I'm telling.
Shahid
We used the Uber the
Dubai.
other day, and our
Yeah.
driver was called Ronaldo. Was it Ronaldo?
Oh, yeah. Ronaldo.
I used it.
Rolando.
Mahi loves using
Rolando
Uber,
Singh.
so I always. Do you know what the beautiful thing about Uber is that if you want to treat yourself, you can get like a premium one. So sometimes like if Mahi's going to treat us, he'll get us an Uber, like a nice Uber, and something like a big Audi A8 comes up and it's all like big and swanky and it's nice. Or you can get your standard one. But I think Uber's good. I do use Uber. I'm not anti-Uber. I think Uber's great. And do you know how incredible Uber is? The fact that the guy who created Uber doesn't own one single car.
Yeah.
To be honest, the guy who created Uber is no longer even has a job. So
Say again?
the guy who created Uber doesn't even have a job anymore. So
Crazy.
yeah, you got.
You know what's crazy is that one time I booked myself an Uber, a regular Uber, expecting a Prius to come pick me up. Only got picked up in a brand new Tesla.
Really?
And I was like, the number plate looks the same, but I don't remember ordering this car. I said, and I checked my app. I think I checked my app to see if I ordered like the Prestige thing. He was like, nah, I was in the area. I saw your thing come up. I was like, oh, I'll grab it. I was like, that's very nice of
So
you.
we honoured it at the normal rate?
Yeah. Dropped me to my nan's house. Turns out later that was them times I was still on Snapchat. Got a Snapchat message from a fan. Said my dad just told me that he picked you up in an Uber.
Really?
Yeah. Some sister who follows me, and she was gassed. She was like, I can't believe like my dad. And she was like, apparently like she was like mad at her dad for like not knowing who I was and this, that, the other. I think rudely I didn't even reply to her, but he did.
I hope she's listening. Yeah. Pick up your fans.
He did give me his number at the time, and I actually rang him close to my wedding, and I said, "Can you be my wedding car?"
Was he?
He said yes.
That's nice.
So
did you know that you can get a helicopter?
Was that him?
It was him.
Really?
Yeah, and he said, "I don't normally do this, but my daughter was like, you have to do it."
Wow.
Did you know you can get helicopter Uber?
And you still didn't message her back and say thank you?
That too.
Yeah.
You didn't even thank her, nothing.
I don't reply to DMs or messages just simply because I don't want to open those doors.
Yeah, if you do it for one, you have to do it for everyone, right?
Yeah, man, I'm not going down that route, man. It's not a disrespect thing. I think my followers are very aware of like, and they love and respect, and I have so much love and respect for my followers, man. I love them. Like the fact that they like going on this journey with me is amazing. I love them, man, to bits. So they already know that. Shahid, you've never been in an Uber. What on earth has happened?
I've either driven a car, walked on my feet, I've got a normal taxi probably.
Bro, imagine we're having to get the pee out. Sorry?
How long has Uber been around?
Omar? How long has Uber been out? I feel like that's something you would know.
2010 maybe?
Yeah, good for you.
Sounds like a
That's
natural
that's
number.
much longer than I thought.
You living in Dubai isn't an excuse
Yeah,
either
that's
because they
a lot
have it in
longer than I
Dubai.
thought. I've only been in Dubai for a
Yeah.
year now.
Yeah.
But you have to have the app and stuff, so it's like almost like a little bit of commitment you have to Uber before
I'm
you
one
get
of
an
those
Uber.
guys where you swipe my iPhone to the left and I'm like, it won't go very far because I've not got many apps.
Did Dubai have Ubers? Did we do
Minimalist.
Uber in Dubai?
They do have them, but they've
Bro, you
been...
can get helicopter Uber in Dubai, man. You can Uber a helicopter.
Hold on, did the taxis we getting, were they Ubers that we got?
No, regular.
Were you just getting the cream coloured taxis?
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, we got the
Yeah.
presents.
So yeah, so maybe we didn't do it much then, because because you told me off by not doing it.
Yeah. Shahid,
Yes.
the question I had for you is when you go in a cab, isn't it just long? Like imagine just jumping in a cab, jumping out, you have to stress about no pee, nothing, it's just all done.
I've not really had got into a taxi very often, to be honest with you. I
Yeah,
usually
fair.
drive or walk. When I was in St Albans, I was walking all the time.
Shahid's a proper minimalist, bro.
That's really good.
Yeah,
I like
man,
that.
proper nice.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, it's not out of like. I don't think I actually made a conscious decision to be a minimalist. I think it's just how I prefer to live in life. Like I like to leave my mind uncluttered, and I think
It's beautiful,
a big
man.
part of that is not having a lot of stuff.
Tell us what you got in your living room, Shahid. Listen to this one.
A rug, a couch, a table.
How many chairs on the table?
And actually, we've got more chairs now.
Oh, have you?
But we had 2 chairs.
Because it's just
me and my wife,
in the
right?
house.
So we had
Not
2
even another
chairs.
chair for a guest.
I got a lot of stick for this, by the way, by my in-laws and my maybe not my family, but we had 2 chairs for this. Just me and my wife. Recently, we had to upgrade. Do you know why?
Why?
Because my wife's sister moved to Dubai, so now we have guests coming around. We have to
Oh, I like that.
Oh,
Proper nice house, man.
wow,
Long
mashallah,
body,
but yeah, I admire that trait.
Yeah, man, same here.
But I think honestly, it's not like something that I consciously decide that I have to live like a minimalist. It's
He
just
says this, but he's got new shoes, new outfit on.
Yeah, I was thinking,
The first thing I saw when I saw him at the station,
No,
I was like,
when they
easy.
came to Dubai, I had
Jeez.
1 pair of shoes, and
Yeah.
now I went shopping with my wife and I got 3 pairs of
Got
shoes.
3 pairs of shoes in
3
one go,
pairs?
bruv. Yeah.
Oh my, where are you gonna
Wow.
I don't know.
No,
Well,
no,
I've
no,
got plenty of space actually.
No space now. Probably like one shoe cupboard.
Wow. Rate
Your
that.
closet is probably just like that for like one outfit, innit?
I actually got the wardrobe in my room, right?
Yeah.
everything's my wife's clothes, and I've got like one shelf. And the funny thing is, I don't even feel that shelf. I've got like,
But you know what? In reality, like I only tend to wear the same type of clothes all the time. Like I'm so comfortable with just like a black t-shirt and black trousers. It's just so much easier and a hat. Like I actually wouldn't change them if I didn't have to.
I've literally got like maybe like 6 or 7 thobes, and normally in Dubai I'm always wearing thobes. Even in the UK, at home I'd wear thobes. But my mum doesn't like me. I'll tell Sam. My mum doesn't like me coming.
And apparently you have to be hygienic.
Really?
So I had to wear this.
You look good though, man.
Thanks, bro.
Allahumma barik. What's next? Current red one. Yo, can I just say, Sam? A, this is our last episode of 2017 because we're going dark next week while your boys in Pakistan. But B, this is our last episode with Red for about a month.
A month?
Bro, your boy's going to the old Bangladesh, motherland, preach.
Yeah.
Preach, Sam.
Preach. That's good. Bala, I think that's fantastic.
So, yeah, it'll be fantastic for Red. Festival guys are going to suffer, so
He will
thanks,
suffer,
Red.
but I think what he's doing is for the greater good of humankind.
Yeah, he is going to help out the people in Rohingya.
What's the brother doing in
Half and half. But yeah, I mean that is one of the agendas. So like half the reason is because my cousin's getting married, so we got to go and celebrate or whatever. But the second half is I'll be spending a day or two trying to basically help out the Rohingya, refugees who are suffering, and they're in the camps at the moment. So they're trying to raise some money to.
Are you still raising money?
Yeah,
online.
We've hit about a fifth of the target.
Alhamdulillah.
With the help of Omar and Faisal as well. Like, thank you guys. But
so how do you donate? Jump onto is it Code Red?
No. Well, actually, yeah, you can do it on my account.
Yeah.
So you can go code.red, and then there'll be a link on my bio. You can donate from there.
Yep.
And you can read the story and see what's happening.
It's amazing, man.
It's through our online community youth center, but we're trying to basically make sure that every penny, rather than going to an organization, like me and my brother will like by hand make sure that all that money is spent on
100% donation policy.
What's that?
100% donation policy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we have like resources there. So alhamdulillah, we've got a family business there. So it's a rice mill, and we've got like a couple of those big trucks that you see in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or whatever.
Yeah, big thing there.
So we're gonna load them up with like as many food and cool relief items, and it gets really cold out there now as well. So people get like, it'll be fine for us, but people die over there. So they need items like that. So we're going to try and make sure that all of that gets transferred.
Are you personally going to go to that?
I'm personally going to go there, personally going to document it,
Amazing.
Make sure that everything... There is a little bit of a risk element to it, but I'm willing to go through that to make sure that, everything
it's beautiful cause, man. It's beautiful cause, bro.
No risk, no reward, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Oh, no.
What's the next current event?
I'm going to get all the gloomy stuff done in like one cluster.
Let's do it. Let's
There's like 2 or 3, and I just want to get it out of the way because it is important.
He loves it, can't get it.
But okay, first is Melbourne. There was a driver who crashed into a high street of people. Again,
in Australia?
40,
I heard about this.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Really bad. There's similar kind of events happening in London. So
well, like was it terror related?
Yeah, it's terror related. Yeah.
Oh,
so it was in Melbourne. Yeah. So 14 people left critically injured.
SubhanAllah.
So
You never hear about stuff in Australia like that. Like it's almost like treated like a different world, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems quite outlandish as well.
My image of Australia is basically neighbours. That's basically what I see Australia. Everyone just happy, just walking.
I think that was just as we were growing up, it phased out.
Yeah. Then we had a ferry carrying 51 people just outside the Philippines that capsized.
Ferry? Ferry.
A ferry.
Was it a ferry? I was like,
Ferry.
that's a
Red.
I mean, I don't know if
I've got something to tell you. They don't exist.
what are you reading, bro? Yo,
a ferry capsized.
Yeah, it capsized.
How many people was he carrying?
251 people.
Man, and what? So how
and
many?
at least 4 people died.
Where was this?
Probably
Where?
count is way higher.
Where?
Philippines, just outside Manila.
So what was the reason for capsizing? The wave, and wind, all that kind of stuff.
They got caught in a storm.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a scary thought, man.
It's crazy.
Have you been on a ferry or ship, Sam?
Yes, many times, yes.
Yeah,
Have you?
Yeah, I've been on a ferry.
Do you go to Ireland on a ferry?
No, I've never been to
You
Ireland
fly?
on a ferry. I've always flown. But I've been to France many times on a ferry.
Yeah.
I've slept on a ferry. And I've been out deep at sea and seen like big waves and thought I'd hate and it's a little bit of a fear of mine. Like deep water is a bit little
scary.
Yeah,
but like
sure.
imagine capsizing on a ferry and actually just being like
Man,
that's a real scary thought, isn't it?
Very scary thought, man.
Really crazy scary thought.
And I imagine, like, at that point, when, like, all of that's happening, everything's going so fast, like, you'd like to think, like, oh, I know what I would do, I know who I would look for, I know to, like, get the life jacket. In all honesty, but when stuff like that's happening, I imagine it's just so manic, like, you panic?
The adrenaline would be going, wouldn't it?
Oh, man.
I imagine.
Insane.
I think you'd find your loved ones and just try your best to just make sure you're following what the captain's telling you to do, I imagine.
Yeah, I
and
suppose.
just bear duas.
Yeah, lots of duas.
Man.
Something that I've used recently to help me with my decision making, both my micro decisions and my macro decisions, is to think about the Titanic, as strange as that sounds, because I think that every single decision you're forced or you make in life is either going to be one of two things. You're either going to be rearranging chairs on the Titanic, or you're going to be saving lives. What I mean by that is, if you've just got a dunya-based goal that just stays within this dunya, all you're doing is just rearranging chairs on the Titanic. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to die, the whole world is going to end. Whereas if you're building something for your akhirah, then you're trying to save lives. And we often get so obsessed with people who are moving chairs. Like, wow, see you move that chair from there. And all they're doing is moving chairs. And there's guys on the corner who are trying to save lives, like giving dawah and stuff like that. And we don't even take notice of them.
I don't get it.
That's good. That's powerful.
Basically, it's basically saying that if you're moving chairs, you're basically doing just things like for the sake of it. There's no purpose behind it. You're just what's the purpose in rearranging a chair? You're not getting anything from it.
Like, for example, before Islam, my idea of success was to get a big house, a car, and just, like the standard things, right?
But this is a
Now
chair,
that,
yeah.
if I was aiming for that, and that was my sole purpose in life, and I went to work every day trying to get that, and I achieved that, all I've done is just move chairs on the Titanic. Because
I don't understand why you're moving chairs to Titanic. I'm confused.
Because
Have you seen the film Titanic?
Titanic's
No.
going to sink. You haven't seen the film Titanic?
I know that I know Titanic sunk.
Right.
I don't
Imagine the people who are working
understand
on
the
it.
chairs bit.
Imagine the people who are working on it. Everyone knows it's going down.
Yeah.
You got people who are just like rearranging the chairs and just making sure,
Does it
just for the
make any
sake of it,
sense
just for the
to
sake of it. And then
rearrange
there's people actually on the lifeboats ensuring. There's people who are working on that boat who really know that all they're doing is
Like, you know the inevitable.
What, they're rearranging chairs while it's sinking? What?
No, what I'm saying. What I'm saying.
I feel like he knows it. I think he just tried to do some dramatic.
Why, if the
experience.
if the Titanic is sinking, why would you be rearranging chairs?
They've got nothing else to do.
No, it's not people. It's not people working there. What I'm saying is, if you were on the Titanic, does it make sense?
Rearranging hats,
for you
Faisal.
to
Rearranging
rearrange
hats.
chairs?
I don't know.
No, it doesn't, right?
Stuff.
Yeah.
So why do we chase after things that are just sinking with us, like a house and a car?
Oh.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Metaphor.
Instead of looking at trying to save our lives.
Yeah.
We got all
I
this
like that.
time, and we invest into something that's going to turn into nothing with
The
us.
sunken?
Do you get it?
Didn't really get you.
That's how you make decisions, bro. Yo, Shahid, there's other ways, man.
First, I should got some of the chairs and put them in your house.
I'm indecisive, but me and you need to have a chat.
I don't think you're the guy to be talking about chairs, Shahid. They got two of them. There's not much rearranging to do,
It
bro.
helps me put things in perspective. For sure.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I can't talk. I've got the worst decision-making process ever.
Yeah, Faisal, this is just.
So my decision-making process is just panic. All right, let's get current event number 3.
So last one is from Vice. They answered America's most Googled questions of 2017.
Oh, nice. That sounds cool. Let's go through each one of them.
Okay, cool. So so there was an interesting one. So how to gouge out your eyes and ears with a butter knife so you can no longer see or hear the news. That's one of the top trending searches.
Wow.
It's very
so weird.
deep.
Wow.
Why
That's
not?
so weird.
Anyone here watch the news?
Why not switch the TV off?
Do you watch news? You watch news, Sam? Omar?
Not really, but like just socials, I guess.
I watch the news.
Not TV. I don't watch it really. Socials.
I don't believe it, but I'm just interested in what's happening.
What you actually?
It's not what's happening.
No, I'm not like, 10 p.m. Everyone shut up. We're gonna put the telly on TV. But I read the news every day. I read it every day. Just to see, not to like be like, what's happening in the world in the sense of like, let me see what to believe, but more like just to see what's happening.
Yeah, it's
around
good.
me.
It's healthy to know what's going on around the world.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Shall we go through some of them?
Yeah, man. Let's
So,
go through one by one.
first one on what is list. What is DACA? So DACA.
Wow, is Dhaka? Oh, hold on. That's not the place in Bangladesh.
No, that's DHAKA.
What is Dhaka? Let's get
DACA
some
is
guesses.
DACA is deferred action for childhood arrivals.
Is that what you were gonna say, Sam? Deferred action for childhood arrivals.
Yeah, it's basically
Deferred
that doesn't mean abortion. That means like
action.
immigration for like children that would be coming into the US.
Okay.
I don't know why that is one of the top, but it's number
That
one.
is weird, isn't it?
That's weird, isn't it? Then it is what is a Bitcoin?
Okay, that's relevant.
That's
Fine.
valid. Oh, by the way, like Bloomberg's basically advising that you sell Bitcoins very soon because then like,
It's a very good strategy for Bloomberg, so the shareholders can buy bitcoins.
It could be, yeah. It
It sounds like Big Short.
The banks are saying
It sounds like Big Short, innit? Back in 2008.
Yeah.
He said it's a new modern recession by digital.
Create panic, innit?
I know.
Anyway, next one is what is solar eclipse?
Yeah.
This is a coin! Alright, this is the bit.
Okay.
What is a solar eclipse?
Okay, what is solar eclipse? A solar eclipse is when the sun and the moon meet, right?
No, I mean, that could be lunar or
Right,
solar.
guys?
There's two sides.
That could be lunar or solar.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that could be lunar or solar also.
And
So you check it
the
out.
solar one
Should we Google it?
is the one where they go over each other.
It could be both.
Could be, that's both.
Yeah,
but
You
yes.
said the same thing.
Solar is when it completely covers it and goes over it.
Is it?
No, that's both. What is the difference, Red? You can't just leave us there.
Oh, what between lunar and
Yeah.
solar? So, oh wait, let me remember. So solar is when.
I love
so
how you
lunar
can
is
be
when.
like I'm the TV.
Yeah, so there's the Earth. Okay, so if you're looking on a planet view, the XYZ plane.
You look
You're
smart.
looking at the XYZ plane, yeah. You got the Earth, and then in between the Earth and the Sun, when the Moon comes in between, that's the lunar eclipse.
If you say so.
Why do you beg to differ?
No,
Yeah, he
I don't
doesn't
plan to
know.
differ at all. I don't know.
Okay, cool. And I guess
This is probably how people actually understood like how the world actually formed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone just said like it's like this. Do you know? And they're like,
Do you know
yeah.
it's different?
They're like, oh yeah, I know. I guess it is. Start telling everyone like for the rest of it forever.
The
world is round.
Atom,
Let's not get into this, Sam.
sounds good. Sounds like fixing it out. Getting ready.
Go ahead, Red.
Okay, next one is what is net neutrality?
What is?
Net neutrality.
So basically, they're creating. Yeah. So basically, I think it's internet service providers or governments are being able to. And I think it's internet service providers are being able to control what's basically on the internet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's basically become more governed. So for instance, there'll be certain types of content that can't actually be accessed. Am I right? It's something along those lines.
Bro, I was listening to something yesterday, and they're basically gonna start commoditizing the internet, which is almost
that's
like
basically what it is. I
it's
think.
upsetting, but it's like almost like it's like that was bound to happen. It's realistic. Like what I mean is that obviously, from what I know, obviously it costs to have the internet in the sense of like it costs to get a broadband provider, but I think it's going to go deeper than that now because essentially the internet is still a free source once you have Wi-Fi, right? Or sorry, an internet connection. But I think they're going to start like monetizing off it in a sense of like you have to pay for it's not just going to be like that in the future.
So there's small sections that happen already like that, right? So like if you want to pay for certain content, then you have to pay for that. But you're saying if you want to access this website,
the internet itself, or parts of the internet, or stuff like that. I think that's they're having those discussions now. But I don't know too much about it. Governments, I suppose. People in power.
Hey, Sam, you know one of the comments you might be probably it's my pet peeve, yeah. You know what? You know when you have a conversation with someone on the phone, yeah, and there's this phrase that some people say when they're just trying to be professional, but just really long. They repeat things again and again. So they'll be like, "Hey, Mr. Choudhry," for example, I had someone come around my house to fix like a cold draft. So, "Hey, Mr. Choudhry, there'll be a gentleman coming at 8:45 tomorrow morning to fix a cold draft. So what I'll do is, and I'll just explain to you what you're going to do again. So what I'll do is, I'll make sure he knows that's coming around at 8:45 a.m. Is that okay?" I said, "Yeah, that's completely fine." He goes, "Okay, so he's going to come around at 8:45 tomorrow. So what I'll do is, I'll make sure everything's in place for him to come." So keep trying to explain what they're going to do, and like it really gets on the house.
I hate what you mean.
I'm like, after the first sentence, we're done. And I'm on the phone just like being polite, like, yeah, okay, fine. And he keeps saying it again. It's like he's just trying to...
I hear you.
I had a phone call. I rang Keith the other day, remember, for that thing, and I texted him, said, "Can you call me when you're free?" And he called me, and I said, he answered the phone, and I was like, "Assalamu alaikum." He's like, "Wa alaikum assalam." I said, "Bro, you good?" He goes, "Bro, cut to the chase." he goes, allow the small talk. I was like, he's like, "What do you want?" I actually felt so good because I was like, cool, I was not on.
So much. Yeah, I wish everyone just knew, knew by default. Like, even my little sister, yeah, she has a habit of doing. So I was just gonna say, and then I was like, "What do you want?"
She's like, "You okay?" and stuff like that.
Yeah. She's like, "Are you okay? How's Sienna?" I'm like, "Can you give me an Uber?" I'm like,
I do it with Dad. Every time I call Dad, I ask him how he is first, which I suppose is a nice thing to do.
Our dad is the most unsmall talk person in the world.
Yeah, you can catch a chase.
You gotta go straight. Don't even just like straight salam and what. Like that's it.
It's good.
But it's kind of good though. Yeah.
It's good. Small talk.
About yourself.
Huh?
Because I'm the type of person that likes explaining everything. Do you think you could? How do you become like such a black and white?
Hang around with us, it will change very quick.
Don't be scared to come across as rude.
You know what it is? It depends on the environment, I'd say, because I'm not like that everywhere.
Sure, that's good.
But I think in work, I'm like that just because of like just boom, 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 boom. Like, you know what I mean? There's no point in
And
like
you haven't got time. You haven't got time for that small talk. It's like called small talk for a reason. You haven't really got time for it, and you're doing it just out of politeness. Like, cut to the chase, isn't it? Basically,
It's so much easier. Yeah.
Do you feel like you guys, like, because of the responsibilities that you hold in your life, you feel like you understand that better?
Yeah.
Do you think it could be to do with impatience or not?
Huh?
Do you reckon it could be to do with impatience or not?
Or no?
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
But naturally, you've got things on.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the benefit of, but like talking to someone, like neither of you really care. It's just because that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think on top of this, it's nice to have a relationship with that person that you're allowing the small talk. You have a relationship that exists stronger than that anyway.
Yeah.
You can't just do. I don't think you can just completely do it to next.
But I the thing is, when small talk's obvious, I'm like, I get a bit uncomfortable because I'm just like, you're just saying it for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But when it's like personalized, like when you're speaking about, let's say, you know, like what's actually happening in your life and stuff like that, it's nicer, you know. When it's just sometimes like, hey, you know, oh, did you see this? Oh, did it? I'm a bit like,
because the job I've had like since I've been working is to speak to people, and there's that cliche like conversation you have with your hairdresser or barber is about where you go, where you going for holidays, the general stuff. Like I've always been so anti that, and it's just like just try and keep it real. If they don't want to talk about something real, like I won't push it, but like just allow that kind of that fake kind of know when you don't care what the other one's saying, you're doing it because that's what you feel like society's. Just cut to the chase, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Next 5.
You should put it in one sentence, Sam.
Simple as that. Let's round it up.
If that's your conversation when you want to get a haircut, maybe go to Ollie, not Sam.
That's true.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
Number 1 is how to make slime.
How to make
Slime.
Really? Oh yeah, that's become a thing.
Yeah, it's
a
become
lot
a
of
thing,
kids are
innit?
making slime and selling it.
Yeah.
That's boring.
Yeah.
Slime?
Yeah, now it's become like a trade thing. Like you actually make it and you go and sell it on to different kids, and
Slime?
Yeah, it's like a become actual like kids industry.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all over Instagram, man.
Yeah,
People just
like-
like
Really?
like the most viral videos I've seen are like people just squidging slime and playing around with it because it seems satisfying. How to make solar eclipse glasses. How
Why do
to
you
watch
watch those videos, Red? Isn't it funny? I can literally imagine watching a slime video.
me
Oh god.
or just in general.
You, yeah.
Me. Oh,
Yeah,
I
no.
don't find it that entertaining. I don't think. How to watch the solar eclipse. How to watch Mayweather versus McGregor, and how to buy Bitcoin.
Wow.
Interesting.
Those are the top 5.
That Bitcoin one's interesting because you can't actually really. It's very difficult to get accounts now, like trade accounts, to actually buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like six months ago, I had to create one for because I had to pay a developer who was working on a project, but we paid him in Bitcoin.
Did you?
Yeah, but he was going on about it, and I wasn't really. I knew about it, but I wasn't really onto it or nothing. And I created an account, and like at the time, because I created it early, like all my limits got lifted and everything, so I actually have a full account to trade on, but I don't really use it. And we paid him. I think it was like $300, $500. It was like something just for like a bit of work, and this was like $3,500 or $4,000 or something.
Really?
Yeah, in like
Wow.
6 months, 7 months. Yeah, crazy.
Did you never get into it?
Now you know what it is. I'm not just sure about the Islamic perspective on it. to be
Yes.
honest.
From what I've heard, it's not allowed.
Yeah, but then this is what you sent me last time. But what was? I mean, I wasn't refuting that. But what was the evidence that it's not allowed? Because it's
I can't remember. I haven't looked
it was
into it.
almost like because it was a
Apparently-
currency that you can't.
Yes,
Don't
I've
know
heard
about.
That's
But does that,
digital. Yeah.
I'm not talking about knowledge, but does that fall into it to be haram because people don't know about the currency?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Obviously, I know about the whole like making money or money thing.
Yeah.
But so I just took it from that perspective. But to be honest, I haven't educated myself about it, so I thought I'd rather be safe than sorry.
It'd
So
be nice to find out, to be honest.
yeah. And
Yeah, but-
also, I tell you what, the other thing is, sorry Sam to cut you up.
That's right.
I feel like in certain aspects I can have like an addictive personality. So I feel like if it got to a thing where like if that was, let's say, my $300 I put in then and it made 3.5, 4 back now, what if I put in 10
Yeah,
times
course,
that
course,
and in
course,
4 months
course,
time,
course.
like it would start to really play on my mind. You know what I mean? And like I wouldn't want to risk
Best
that.
to avoid it.
Yeah, because I just feel like I'll just get
Because
too
of,
crazy.
I think because of the volatility of it, yeah, it comes with a lot more risks. It's almost gambling, and like Omar said, like it insinuates that different thoughts.
And
in your head.
also in the sense that like And I don't know if this is I'm being judgmental here or anything. I'm not saying about the people that do it, but in my head, I like betting on things that I can kind of control, like outcome-wise. So I like the fact that I work, and then the money I make, I know where it's come from, and the effort's gone into it, and I have it. You know what I mean? And rather than it being a thing where me getting sucked into something that I may or may not be able to control in the long term.
Plus, this is a cryptocurrency as well. It's on the internet, man. And it, like the dark internet exists.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So like, it could be controlled from the back end from any direction. Like, you don't know which direction it's going to go. It's too much of a risk.
It's questionable, is what it comes down to, isn't it? So that's I mean, from what you sent me and what I read, it was almost like because it's too questionable, avoid it.
Yeah.
Was the general gist of it. But yeah, I've avoided it, and it was when it was talked about years ago when the option was there. I don't regret not getting involved in it, but I do feel like now it's such a common it's such a everyone's talking about Bitcoin. Someone I know tried to pay for something the other day online. I can't remember what it was, but the option was to pay on Bitcoin. I went to a shop the other day and they had a Bitcoin box on the wall. I'm seeing it and we're hearing it. We're talking about it. It's been in the last 2 or 3 podcasts because it's current. It's very current now, but it's been around for a while, isn't it?
I think it has. I think I said it to you. I tried. So I tried. When I changed my Instagram name to code.red. Yeah. Before that, I tried looking for code red on its own. Yeah. And I messaged the guy that had it. He goes, "You have to give me $2,000 worth of bitcoins."
Oh, you said that we paid in bitcoins.
You should ask him a year earlier. Cheap. But do you know what my kind of like philosophical theoretical stances on this stuff is as well, is like, imagine when currency first came out, like real currency first came out, there's a transition of people that existed that to them it was new. So they were like, oh, what's this new currency thing? Do you reckon it'll catch on? So ultimately, like, things like this will happen now, digital currencies, and everything will become like that, like technology. So like my daughter or Zayden, for instance, they're born into a world where phones are the norm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to them, growing up talking about transition when it's not even a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
so is that, so to us it's like that, but eventually it'll become a thing where the currency is the currency that it is, and it just carries on.
But that's the end of current events.
That is the end of current events.
Current events.
Yeah. Listen, Omar Choudhry, big boy Omar Choudhry, big brother, O.C, O.Sizzle, Omar Choudhry. It's been amazing having you on.
Bro, it's actually been amazing. It's been very kind of therapeutic in a sense.
You should come on again. And also, you are my big brother.
Yeah, so I will always be seeing you around.
That is a fact. Inshallah.
But no, it genuinely has been nice, man. Like, thanks guys for having me. Yeah, man. I really enjoyed talking to you guys, man.
Thank you for giving us your very valuable time, brother.
Bro, man.
I highly appreciate it.
Yours is more valuable, man. I really appreciate that, bro.
Thank you so much.
We have to do that dinner soon as well, man.
Inshallah.
To be honest, I went to the restaurant the other day that I was planning on taking you to, but I might still take you there.
Inshallah.
It was very good.
Is it good, yeah?
Yeah, we had a lovely time, man.
We'll organise that for the new year,
Inshallah. With that being said, guys, this is episode 40. I'm Faisal Choudhry. He's Empire. We're out.